Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones this afternoon down 503 points to 42,503. Market update brought to you by Enbridge Gas, formerly Dominion Energy North Carolina Gas. Dominion Energy North Carolina Gas customers are now proudly served by Enbridge Gas. Looking forward to a bright future together. To learn more, visit enbridgegas.com.
Side of the net, looking for Larkin. Anderson stout. Can't clear. Sider with it. Anderson flashes the leather. Chatfield will come up with a better of the play. Centering it up front to the back, and they score! Jordan Martinook. Out Stahl with a stuff chance on the steal and scores! Oh, the captain takes advantage of a misplay from Alex Lyon. Fans on the chance shot right on. Anderson makes the save on Comfer.
Oh, unforced error from Aho. That's a massive save from Anderson late in the period.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. On a Thursday, I'm Tim Donnelly, Dennis Cox producing the show. I'm going to start with on-air math. Are you ready? 23 minutes. See, I messed up. 23 hours, 58 minutes, and 24 seconds until the NHL trade deadline.
Nailed
I literally messed it up right at the gate.
Nailed it.
That's what you get here at The Drive. We are essentially one day exactly 24 hours, almost to the minute, from the NHL trade deadline, and all eyes in the NHL world are trained right here in the Triangle. They're focused right in on two individuals. One, Mikko Rantanen. Two, Eric Tulsky, the GM, that gets to decide what and who and where and who to include in conversations, who to have conversations with, who to have fake conversations with. I'm going to just stand on what I've been saying all week. I don't think the Canes should trade Mikko Rantanen unless they get their doors absolutely blown off by an offer. Unless it's a true Godfather offer. They can't refuse. But I will admit this. I'm starting to think they might. Right? There's two different things, right? One is what you think someone should do. One is what you think they will do. And they don't always line up. I'm starting to think they might.
It's feeling more and more real.
It's enough people that you trust start saying that, you know, the calls are maybe being initiated by Tulsky or no, he's canvassing. You start seeing reporters that you know, aren't going to be throwing out reports without sources. Enough of them are saying something, you kind of have to believe it a little bit. I will say the overanalyzing has gotten kind of crazy. Did you see they had an optional team skate yesterday?
I did not.
Rantanen skated.
Look at
that
him.
means he wants to be here.
Look at that.
If you go on Kane's Twitter right now. Do you know that he was at morning skate this morning but did not participate in the open locker room with the media? That means he has something to hide. There are details that can just be, that's how today went. There are pieces of information you can learn that doesn't have to swing your confidence meter on whether you think Mikko Rantanen is going to stay or not 180 degrees. All of that is possible. All of it is possible and maybe even advisable, right? Just take the big picture in. Don't flip and flop every which way. And as a team, right, they have to try to focus on playing. As you hear Rod Brindamore, the head coach, he did talk to the media, and this is what he had to say.
We don't talk about it. It's out of our hands, you know. And certainly from the players' perspectives, they got jobs to do, and, you know, we know how it works. It's a business. I think you look around the room, almost every guy's been on a different team at some point, so everybody kind of understands it. But at the same time, you know, that's not what we're thinking about. We got to go out and do your job.
I'm feeling a little competitive. Can we play a game?
Go for it.
Let's play a game. The game is called Who is Playing Games. I have to remind myself of this, especially around trade deadlines, especially NFL draft coming up. There are certain times on a calendar for each team where you should believe almost nothing of what you hear, but then suddenly, like, you get a piece of information, you want to believe it, you talk yourself into it. This is smokescreen season, right? Everything is about leverage. So when you hear a leak, right, something from a source, when you hear a report, one of the first questions that should pop into your mind is, who does this benefit? right? Because if a reporter says sources say, somebody told them that, right? That source could be anybody, but somebody told them that. Who does it benefit? All right, so let's look at this from Mikko Rantanen's perspective. Maybe Mikko is playing games. By the way, would be completely within his right. Maybe he wants to hit the open market. Maybe he wants to maximize his dollars. Maybe he's got a little Kirk Cousins in him, and he's just saying, if I hit the open market and get a bidding war, I am going to get paid so much astronomical money and then get to choose where I go. Who doesn't want to have that power? Maybe that's what he's thinking. And it didn't matter who. He wasn't going to sign with Colorado. He wasn't going to sign with whoever Colorado traded him to, and he won't sign with whoever the Canes trade him to if that happens, right? Maybe he wants to hit the open market. If that's the case, guess what I would do if I were him? I would tell Tulsky, I haven't decided yet. I'm still weighing my options. Why? Because then maybe they'll stick around in Carolina, and if you just want to hit free agency, I think the Canes are a good place to ride it out. You'll play postseason hockey. You'll get to play with your childhood friend Sebastian Aho from your home country. And if things go south, if there's something like an injury, if there's something like you really tank your play, that Canes offer is going nowhere. They've already invested enough. If it's not like that'll go away. So if you just ride it out in Carolina, yeah, I'm going to say I consider it, even if that's not how I actually feel. Now, here's the other side, right? Let's look at it from the team side. What could they be leaking? Remember those reports I mentioned about how everybody is being canvassed? The league is being canvassed. Eric Tulsky has been checking the price on what they can return in a Mikko Rantanen trade with teams that would bring him in as a rental and with teams that might have a chance to sign him long-term. And all of this talk? Well, if I'm Eric Tulsky, and I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt, I'm not trading Mikko Rantanen before the trade deadline. Right? I traded for him. I did my math correctly when we traded for him. I still think there's a good chance we can sign him. If he's on the fence now, I think we can get him on our side of the fence by July. I'm not trading him. Guess what I might do? Tell everybody I'm thinking about it. Why? Because no other teams are going to make gigantic moves when they think it might miss out on Mikko Rantanen. Right? Dennis Max is back there with you, shadowing you all day. Max, who works for us now, new guy, he was bringing up today that the Brock Nelson sweepstakes are heating up. People are poking around about Brock Nelson.
That's right, New York Islanders center.
Well, let's be real. If you have some prospects to burn, right? You have some young players you're interested in moving. We could make the offer for Nelson, but do you think we could package it and get Mikko Rantanen? Right? I don't want to make that move until I know Rantanen's off the table. Let's call Tulsky. They said he's canvassing. Remember, that's kind of how the Canes ended up, at least I believe, with Rantanen. Right? They're poking around with JT Miller, poking around with a few other guys, and then kind of like, whoa, the price for Miller is getting really high. We might be able to get Rantanen for that. Flipped it over, got Rantanen. Tulsky could be playing games. Mikko Rantanen could be playing games. And if you're someone from a rival of the Canes, maybe someone in a metropolitan race, maybe someone who I don't know, just likes to see other contenders be upheaved a little bit, yeah, I would be spreading. Oh, guess who called us today? Tulsky. Telling that to every reporter I know, even if he was calling to ask about our backup goalie. I'm going, yeah, Tulsky called. You can figure out why. Let that permeate. It's smokescreen season. The reasons that I think you don't trade Mikko Rantanen haven't changed. You may think the possibility of re-signing him is near zero, but it's never zero. Can you win? Like, let's say you just catch absolute fire. I know it doesn't look good right now at times, the way they're playing, but let's say you catch absolute fire, you win a Stanley Cup. Is he going to walk away from a Stanley Cup winning team that's offering him $105 million? Maybe you can do some math, right? The cap's going up. The Canes are going to have a boatload of money. Maybe you look at the future of your salary cap and go, heck, $14.2 per year? I don't know. How crazy do you want to get, Tulsky?
Want to get weird? Let's get weird.
Maybe he'll fall in love with the area. Maybe he didn't know that there's a new park with cool slides for toddlers in Cary. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking of because I got the 3-year-old. I don't think he has any kids. But maybe he falls in love with the area in the next 3 months. Maybe, as I said earlier, you don't wish this, but maybe he gets hurt. Market changes. Canes are there saying, hey, you're still one of us. Crazier things have happened than someone changing their mind from a trade deadline gut feeling to a long-term extension a week later. I don't think you trade him. But I have a feeling that that mettle, that belief will be tested over the next 24 hours pretty aggressively. Because all the reasons why I think you have to take the chance with Mikko Rantanen, every other team in the league is thinking the same thing. I know it's not the same, but I am overly obsessed with it, so I'll pretend like it is. There have been trades in my Dynasty Fantasy Football League, and guess what my first reaction is? Someone else get trades for somebody, and I go, man, why didn't I call about that guy? I could have reached out. Why did I just sit there? You're darn sure that feeling is times 1,000 when it comes to the best players in real times 1,000,000 when it comes to the real players in professional sports. There's not anybody in the league that is going to want the Canes to trade Mikko Rantanen and them go, I didn't think they actually would, so I didn't even call about it. So your phone's ringing off the hook for the next 24 hours. That's going to test your mettle. I would only take the deal if I absolutely have to take the deal.
By the way, if he gets held out of the lineup tonight, you know something's about to go down.
Yes, and that is not like what I said about like, oh, he showed up at voluntary skate. That is like, oh no, that's a real sign.
We saw it last year with Michael Bunting.
Yeah.
Michael Bunting got held out of a game for potential trade reasons, and then all of a sudden, Jake Gensel's in Carolina, and Michael Bunting's in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's in Nashville. Go figure.
And I mean that's true for any sport, right?
Yeah.
If the trade deadline's coming clear, and somebody randomly is held out of a lineup, that usually means the deal might not be done, but they don't want the deal to fall through because they sprained an ankle in this one.
Exactly.
So yes, pay attention to that, and we'll let you know if we hear anything like that. Although they did waive Riley Stillman today.
Yeah, defenseman Riley Stillman got put on waivers today, which I think is something that they had to do in order to send him down to the AHL. Again, that also clears up some cap space if they do potentially make a move. There are some other guys, like, for example, I know our guy Mike is all in on this. Ryan Reeves, Toronto Maple Leafs, big guy, goon.
Micah wants anyone
Mike is
that's
all
ever
in
been
on
in a fight. Like if somebody is a hold me back guy, where every time they're at a bar, their friends know they got to hold them back. Micah wants him on the ice for the Canes. We know how Micah. Shout out to Micah. We know how he thinks. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. You can keep it tuned here for the duration of the show if you are literally waiting moment by moment for NHL trade deadline, Carolina Hurricanes news. We will be refreshing, and anytime we hear something, assuming that we've sourced it and everything, we will pass it along. So you can keep that tuned right here. Even if we're talking about something else, we have no problem firing that breaking news update. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. This is a different kind of breaking news. NC State men's basketball won a game last night. How about it? Stick around.
Left wing O'Connell now. He dribbles to the top of the arc. Dishes left pass open off a screen. Catch, fires, open, drills it.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Good vibes for the NC State Wolfpack, at least for a night. At least for a night. That's something poetic about last night for NC State, isn't there? And I'm not saying that they are going to move on from Kevin Keatts. We know that his buyout is a little under $7 million. We know that this season was a ridiculously tough season for NC State. And I know that the team didn't come together in the way they hoped, but there is something poetic about, like, at least this year's team wasn't a relationship that worked. And occasionally it happens, right? And it might be too rom-commy, too romantic comedy, but stick with me on this analogy. Maybe you've been dating someone for like a year.
Go on.
So one of you gets invited to a family wedding, and of course that's your plus one, right? You've been dating for a year.
Yeah.
Wedding's not for like 6 months into the future, though. 8 months into the future. About 5 months in, you know the relationship's not going anywhere. But you already RSVP'd with the plus one, so you're kind of like, hey, you know what? Let this just be one night where we just have a good time, right? We laugh, we dance. Grandma will be there. We're just going to have one night, and then we can have the serious conversation about how we both know this thing ain't going well tomorrow. But for tonight, when 24 Karat Magic by Bruno Mars comes on, let's just hit the middle of that dance floor, enjoy the open bar, and have a good time. Senior night, 2025, NC State Wolfpack. Was this season good? No. Did we lose too many games? Yes. Did we ever find our number one scorer? Nope, they might not even be on the roster. Are 6 of you seniors exhausting your eligibility and a handful of you probably going to test the transfer portal that have eligibility? Yep. Does the coach have to go have really tough conversations with the front office the moment this season is over? Yes. But for just one night, just because it's senior day, just because our whole family is going to be there, and we're kind of celebrating last year, and we're going to get framed jerseys, just for one night, can we just play good basketball and have a good time? We can have the tough conversations tomorrow.
Just push the sunlight back, the sun right back up and above the horizon for just a moment.
We know where this is going. We don't have to pretend, but we can ignore. They beat Pitt. Pitt's a middle-of-the-road ACC team. You win those games the entire season, you're probably a tournament team. But that might be the first time you've won those games all season, and you darn sure haven't won any of them on the road, right? They beat Pitt last night. Is that the real NC State? No, it wasn't real. But it happened. You enjoyed it. The energy was fake. It was manufactured by the applause for accomplishments from previous years. It was more about senior day than it was about this year's team. The rotations weren't real. You started guys that normally don't play. You played them huge minutes. It wasn't how you idealized this roster. It wasn't how you imagined it when you signed these guys and gave them the NIL money. The game counts towards the record, but not towards anything else, because Stanford went on to lose later in the night. So you're mathematically now officially eliminated from the ACC tournament. It was a nice night to remember. But let's go back to that wedding analogy. That next morning you wake up, a little hungover, got to travel back with that person now. That's not a fun morning. That's not a fun morning. The hard conversations have to take place. We're not right for each other. Those are the conversations that are going on with State now. Who gets to keep their job? And if they keep their job, what changes are they committed to making? Right? If Kevin Keatts is fired, if he is bought out and he is on his way out, the next guy better bring modern ideas. The next coach I wouldn't take the NC State job as the next coach without a laundry list of here are the things you need to commit to in order for me to take over this program. Because you can think Kevin Keatts is the best or worst coach in the world. You look at the structure of the program, they don't have the support to be consistently winners in the ACC, I should say. The NIL commitment isn't matching up with the expectations. They don't have a GM. They don't have a GM, and they're not even sure if they're going to get one, according to Kevin Keatts a couple nights ago. When we learned that UNC men's basketball didn't have a GM, I yelled and screamed. NC State was like, yeah, we don't have one either, and we might not get one. That can't happen. If Kevin Keatts is brought back, same thing. He better bring modern ideas. What you don't want to have happen right now, if you're NC State, is Kevin Keatts be retained for another year. We're going to keep you. You're our guy. And have him be so thankful for the job that he almost is refusing to ask for things or refusing to say it's like, all right, thank you. And he's just so yes, like, oh, I escaped. No, if he's around, you better keep him around with confidence so he can say, I need this, I need this, I need this. And also he needs to, raise his hand and say, this, and this. That was my fault, right? Everyone's got to take their blame. I need to do better at X, Y, and Z, and y'all need to provide me with more A, B, and C. Like there's multiple things going on there. Kevin Keatts talked about NIL and money for players and all the things that'll look different next year.
Yeah, Bruce promised me $10 million, so we're gonna be good. No, we'll have those conversations after the year. I mean, it's not the right time for that. We'll talk about it. It's important. I think it'll get better here at NC State because of the fact that it's revenue sharing. I've said this all along. We fell a little short because it was more out of our control because it was outside with the collective. And I think as we move forward, I can see it getting better.
Obviously, the first part about the booster promising him $10 million, he was being facetious.
Oh, boo, he said boo as in Boo Corrigan.
Boo. Oh, I heard booster. That's funny. Obviously, he was being facetious. You know what's the bad part? If you're gonna make that joke, I don't think $10 million is high enough. Right? Like, say I don't know. Say, like I'm a little under 6'4" height. Right? If someone ever came up to me and said, like, oh, my gosh, you're so tall, and I went like, it's not like I'm 6'5". It's like, no, if you're going to exaggerate, right, if you're going to make a joke, it's not like I'm 7'7". Like, you have to make it funny. $10 million is like, actually, I'm pretty sure there are some schools out there spending $10 million, and you're supposed to be a team that competes with those teams, and your joke is their reality. If it's $10 million to win in the ACC and you want to win in the ACC, that's kind of what you got to come up with. The hardest thing about the NIL world, the world that we're living in right now in college sports, is I have absolutely no clue what numbers are real and what numbers are fake. AJ Dibansa, the upcoming number one recruit, I've seen between $5 and $7 million in NIL money committed to him from BYU.
That's a lot.
NC State was in the Final Four last year, and $10 million is a pipe dream. It's a joke to the coach, and there's one player in the incoming class that might be making over 50% of that. They got to get modern. They have to modernize their program is a better way to say that, in a hurry, or else it's going to continue to be a franchise, a program that has the expectations of a team with multiple national championships, yet the structure of a team that is hoping to make the NCAA tournament every couple years. If you want those to align, there's got to be some forking over some cash. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Shout out to the seniors, though, and we'll get into more of that in a little bit. But, hey, winning on senior night, it's always a good feeling. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox has something he'd like to say.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. Folks, time is running out. Your opportunity, you have 1 month from today to enter at caniacsbike.com. To enter for your chance to win a custom Caniacs bike. Custom Caniacs motorcycle, I should say, because the Law Tigers, Tobacco Road Harley-Davidson, Shiny Side Paint, and your Carolina Hurricanes, they've all teamed up once again to give one lucky fan a custom Caniacs motorcycle. Simple to enter, folks. Go to caniacsbike.com. Again, caniacsbike.com. 1 month from today is the deadline, but if you start thinking about other stuff, you're going to forget. That's why you go ahead and do it now. Go to caniacsbike.com. You'll see pictures of the bike. It's absolutely gorgeous. Again, it's a custom-built motorcycle. Custom-built motorcycle. It is one of one, custom painted with Canes decals, Canes colors, logos, the whole bit, you name it. It's all right there on the bike. Again, go to caniacsbike.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, heads to the Dean's List. Coming up next, yes, somebody from NC State who won on senior night will be on the Dean's List. Stick around. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. A little smooth action coming out of the break there. Trey Hendrickson, who is a All-Pro defensive end from the Bengals, has been given permission to seek a trade. That's wild. That's crazy. We'll break that down as part of Football at 4 because, when it's an All-Pro suddenly becomes potentially available at one of your most dire positions of need, your ears should perk up, and that's directed towards the Panthers, even if it just pushes a better player down to you because someone else will fill their top shelf with Trey Hendrickson. So there's a Bosa available, a Hendrickson available. There's some movement going on there. We'll talk about it. But first, it's about 3:30, so it's time for the Dean's List. Class is in session. I'm giving a group award here. They had a group presentation last night. NC State seniors, specifically the ones that contributed to last year's Final Four run. They had their senior night last night. I'm actually going to give like a co-Dean's List here to Kevin Keats for the night because he understood the assignment. Middlebrooks, Breon Pass, Michael O'Connell, Jaden Taylor all started, all played big minutes, as did Dontrez Styles. He wasn't around for last year's run, but also a senior. Trey Parker, Paul McNeil, the freshman, played like 10 minutes combined. It was very much a celebration of guys' careers coming to an end, and the seniors rewarded him. Middlebrooks, Pass, O'Connell, Styles, all in double figures. They all ended up winning the game. So I like a good senior night. I like when seniors play well on senior night. I like those cool moments. NC State seniors get on the Dean's List. More Dean's List members. I'm giving a shout out to Ole Miss and Oklahoma. That was a perfect record scratch there from the backing track. Unranked Ole Miss and Oklahoma last night beat number 4 Tennessee. That was Ole Miss. And number 15 Missouri. That was Oklahoma. You got to respect a team at this point in the season that's unranked and trying to jostle for positioning in conference tournaments and everything, knocking out a ranked opponent. And also, in the meantime, showing how vulnerable the SEC is despite all of the hype. Everyone's losing over there. Maybe it's because they're a deep conference and they have good teams that can upset you any night. But I choose to look at it as the teams at the top aren't that good. You can spin it in any direction. I have one more Dean's List. Max, who has been shadowing throughout the week, Dennis back there is producing this segment. Do you have a Dean's List member?
Actually, I do.
I love it.
My Dean's List is going to be the Seattle Kraken front office, former Hurricanes GM Ron Francis. They made a trade yesterday.
I don't hate it because they made the trade. However, this is college sports. College sports. Ron Francis, legend in the area, so we'll allow it. Right,
Sorry.
obviously.
New guy.
New guy. Obviously, he's, Francis has his history. But I'm actually going to go similarly. Dennis, you'll appreciate this. Watch how we spin this. Right? He takes a Canes legend, and that was his Dean's List. My Dean's List will be a Carolina Panthers legend. Wesley Walls. Wesley Walls, tight end, caught a bunch of touchdowns. One of the old school kind of original Carolina Panthers. Did not go to college in the area. However, he was just named one of the 5 new CFP selection committee members, and which means we have to start sucking up now, right? Because we're going to want extra ACC schools. If one of the teams in the triangle has a nice run, we're going to want them in. So Wesley Walls is kind of our only rep on the new 5. The new 5 people put on the CFP selection committee. Michigan State former coach Mark D'Antonio, Maryland athletic director Damon Evans, former ESPN college football reporter Ivan Maisel, and Middle Tennessee State AD Chris Massaro. So no ACC representation in the new 5. So we're dependent on Wesley Walls to carry the Carolina flag, meaning the state of North Carolina flag. I also, this is side note, but it's pertinent since we're talking college sports. I want to start a movement. There's always those online petitions. I don't want anyone employed by a current school on any selection committees. That just seems like a gross conflict of interest. You have the Maryland athletic director on the committee, and I know that athletic directors from this area have been on chairs or been chairs of committees and things. I just don't think it's right. Find somebody that's not getting their check cashed or signed by somebody that may be involved in the decisions and move on from there.
It's okay. They all recuse themselves. There's definitely no bias there.
Well, even I agree with that because that is like when you're discussing Maryland, he'll walk out of the room. But you don't think he knows who Maryland's competing with? Like if it comes down to the final at-large spot in the CFP and it's between Maryland and say Duke, I'll recuse myself as you talk about Maryland. Then he's going to come right back in to talk about Duke and he's just going to trash him because he's not a dummy. As he should, because that's his, it's his athletic department, and he believes in those guys. It's just conflict of interest. So there you go. That's my Dean's List. We try to keep it positive in the Dean's List. Got a little negative there at the end. Oh, well. Teacher with the red pen, right? Got a little crazy. Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Class dismissed. There it is. A little early on the bell. So this weekend, there's a pretty big basketball game here on the Drive, one that we focus on quite a bit. It is Duke at UNC. And there is a side plot. There is a B plot, if you will, going into that one, which is Duke's losing one of their most important assistant coaches immediately after the game. Jay Lucas is leaving Duke after the regular season to be the head coach of Miami. It's been announced. It is official. He will be on the bench for one more game, the final in the regular season. Then he has to bounce. And here's my, I like to say my official take, right? This is what you can reference here. It might not be a big one, but it is a distraction. It might not be the biggest deal in the world, so don't pretend like I'm making it out to be the biggest deal in the world, but it is like if you could choose to have this going on or not have this going on, you choose to not have this going on every single time. John Shire, the head coach, had to talk to the media, and a whole bunch of it was about Lucas. Here he discusses Lucas taking the Miami job.
But just for me, just couldn't be more excited, for him and his family. And, I was thinking about this last night as obviously we're preparing for our game Saturday, and that's the main focus by far. But for Jay, he came here when before I even coached one game as a head coach. And he's been here from the beginning, really helped me build this thing. He's been awesome. He's a great coach, great teacher. I could be here. I could be up here the whole time saying all the things I feel about Jay. But the thing for us, like we're great friends, and it's going to be that way, at least from my perspective, for a long time.
That's a lot of praise for a guy. And actually, if it wasn't happening in the middle of a run, I would say this is good news for Duke. I think it's positive when your assistant coaches are getting head coaching jobs. I think it makes you more attractive to the next up-and-coming coaches. You're not going to keep good coaches on your bench forever. So if your assistants do well, recruit well, coach well, and then get head coaching jobs, that's going to give you the first pick to replace them out of all of the potential assistant coaches. The only thing I think the negative is they're on a run. They've won 4 games by 33 or more. Things are cruising. Everything's on rhythm, and you're just hoping nothing gets them off rhythm if you're a Duke fan. And you may say, well, he does a lot of work with them defensively, and, they're this many games in, and they know all their defensive concepts, and they've seen every type of offense, so him leaving isn't much. It may not be much. But I'll tell you this, right, as somebody that tries to stay up on the news as it breaks and look for different angles. It took less than an hour from the official news that Jay Lucas was taking the job in Miami for articles, full articles. So they were either typing fast or they already had them saved in drafts to be written about the Boozer twins flipping their commitment to Miami. Boozer twins are depending on which recruiting site you look at, the number 2 and number 20 recruit in the country for next year. They are the centerpiece of Duke's number 1 recruiting class for next year. They are Carlos Boozer's sons. But you may go, all right, why would Carlos Boozer, Duke legend's sons, flip from Duke? Well, how about this? Lucas is expected to hire the Boozer's high school coach to his staff in Miami. How about this? Miami was already the runner-up to Duke in their recruiting. They reportedly finished second. And Lucas was one of their primary recruiters to Duke. So you take their primary recruiter, take him to Miami, potentially their high school coach, take him to Miami, and even without either of those guys at Miami, Miami still finished second. That's essentially what the article said. At the very least, Shire has to spend a little bit more attention on them today, tomorrow, this week. At the very least, Shire has to check in with them more, and that's time he could have been spending doing something else. It's a distraction. Not to mention all of the things that an assistant coach does in season, right? Scouting, game plan, individual player relationships. Jay Luke is going to be one of the youngest. Some are saying, and I haven't double-checked this, so don't quote me on it. Some are saying he'll be the youngest Power 5 head coach in the country when he takes the job at Miami. That doesn't happen if you're not a really good coach. Now, I'll do the same thing I did with the last conversation about the committee. I just have one. I'm proposing rule changes a lot today. The portal can't open until after the season. Same thing with football. Right? Football, when the portal opens before bowls, guys have to hit the transfer portal. They don't get to finish what they started. When the portal opens before the CFP, remember Penn State's backup quarterback, who actually had there were running plays for him in the game plan. He had to go into the portal because he wanted to find his next spot, and there was an incumbent starter in Drew Aller coming back, so he wasn't going to get him out. And he left before the CFP, the college football playoff. Now you have coaches leaving. I don't even know. Is Duke the betting favorite to win the national championship? They're definitely top 2 or 3. You have an assistant coach leaving one of the top betting favorites to win the national championship before the conference tournaments because the portal's going to open and he's got to go start recruiting for his next spot. Change the calendar. Change the calendar. For football, I think it's easy. Move the entire season up 1 month. Have the season end, national championship, New Year's Day, and then open up the portal the next day. You have 2 weeks before the next semester starts most places. It's very simple. Basketball, I don't know why it has to open now. Nobody's in a rush to get enrolled in the fall. Open it the day after the national championship. I don't know why that has to be that difficult. And that'll avoid all of this.
Auburn and Duke co-favorites right now to win the championship, about 3.5 to 1.
An assistant coach is leaving the co-betting favorite to win the national championship because he has to go start recruiting out of the transfer portal. Hilariously, if he wants to bring some of these guys on Duke's bench with him to Miami, he could start recruiting them Sunday if they go into the portal to go with them. It's ridiculous. That's just absurd. Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Now let's look at the game, right? Because that's just the B plot. That's just the side plot. The main plot is Duke at UNC this weekend. And by the way, despite, I don't know, there's this weird, you know how sometimes it becomes cool to hate things that everybody likes? It's like, oh, you like, I don't know, pop music. Oh, I don't listen to that. I don't listen to underground stuff. It's like pop stands for popular because people like it. There's this weird pushback against Duke UNC. Like, oh, it's just a media. It's like a Hallmark holiday. No. Has not lost any sizzle. I promise you, has not lost any sizzle. And this year, there are stakes. Different than some, when they match up and they're both in the top 5, it's actually less stakes than you think, right? It's like, ooh, loser's going to fall to 8th in the country. That's not super, super stakey. This year, I believe UNC gets in the tourney with a win. I'm comfortable saying that. I know that, some of the net rankings or some of the Ken Palms may not agree. I believe that the committee is made up of people, and they are just looking for any reason to put a brand like UNC in. If they beat Duke, that's all the justification they need. If UNC beats Duke, they get in the tourney. Stakes could not be higher.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. If they were hanging around the bubble earlier this season with their resume, and if with one of the best wins in the country, I think they'd definitely get in.
100%. And I don't think that's the only way they get in. I think if they make it to the ACC championship, whether they beat Duke or not next week, I think that's another angle. But you can end it on Saturday. Win, you're in. Duke stakes are also a little interesting. If Duke loses and Clemson and Louisville win this weekend, Duke is the 3 seed. Duke can go from one of the best ACC conference performances over their conference schedule that we've ever seen to the 3 seed in the ACC tournament if they lose to UNC, partially because of tiebreakers, right? Because in that case, Louisville, Clemson, and Duke will have kind of beaten each other in a triangle, right? Clemson will have beaten Duke. Duke will have beaten Louisville. Louisville will have beaten Clemson. So that's tie all square. The tiebreaker would then be your record against the next highest ranked ACC team, which if UNC beats Duke, which in this case they do because Duke lost, then UNC is the next highest ranked, which means Duke would be third because they're the only team that's lost to UNC, which would have happened over the weekend. Now, that may have been confusing. All you have to know is if Duke loses, they could fall as low to the 3rd seed, and Duke does not want that to happen. And then on top of that, for Sizzle, the rivalry matters. It does. And if you want to be real, like, oh, I'm in the know, I know ball, UNC actually dislikes NC State more. Didn't you hear that one time that one former player said it on that one podcast? Fine, I'll agree with that. I don't actually, but I will. Like, I'll agree that they're close. Even if you go by that. Eyeballs make it important. Eyeballs make it important. Everyone is watching is enough to up the intensity. Right? Everybody's most embarrassing moment. It doesn't happen when no one saw it. If you slip, what do? You look around. Anybody see me? Nobody saw you? Cool. Walk it off. There's a crowd of 8th graders laughing at you? All right, now you're embarrassed. This is a game with a crowd of 8th graders laughing at you. That right there is enough to up the intensity. Michael Jordan, and I've referenced this a few times, Michael Jordan says he still gets asked more than, did you win the ACC? He gets asked, what was your record against Duke? And then on top of that, there's an interesting basketball matchup here. John Shire, head coach of Duke, admits and sees on film that UNC is playing their best ball.
Hubert and their staff have done a great job of, adapting and, continuing to evolve as a team. I think, obviously they're playing bigger lineup changes, but they're ultimately playing the same guys. But I think the biggest thing that's different is just the confidence level that they're playing with, the aggressiveness, the cohesiveness. They're on the biggest winning streak from the season. They're scoring over 80 points a game. So I think the defensive challenge for us is going to be a big challenge. And then obviously playing at home, they played at a fast pace, and even faster, I think, the last couple of weeks. So for us, great respect for them, everything they've done, and I really feel they're playing their best basketball, that they've been playing all year.
Man, that's a lot of coach speak. Man, that is a lot of, I'm not saying anything that their coach can put on the bulletin board. Those guys are great. Those guys are awesome. Hubert, great coach. Players, great players. He literally went, they're playing bigger even though they're playing the same guys. Riddle me that. How does that mean? They're playing the same guys, but they're taller now? Is he saying that their players grew over the last month? They've been eating their Wheaties?
Must be the shoes.
Yeah, they went to Air Maxes. They got the bubble on in the heel, get an extra inch. I've done it. I've measured in at camps going like we do this in sneakers, right? Good. I have my platforms on. Maybe that's it. The fact of the matter is it's not a great matchup stylistically for UNC. Duke is one of, if not the tallest team in the country, depending on who's available, depending on who's hurt and who's not. They like in certain lineups, they are the tallest team on average in the country. UNC has struggled with size. Hey, we don't cover the pass well. Well, you're playing 2013 Peyton Manning. Like it's a bad matchup. But in the rivalry, oftentimes you throw out the scheme, right? In the rivalry, sometimes it's something as simple as Cormac Ryan's going to hit 100 threes and you're going to get 31 from him. Who cares what the schematic matchup is if a certain player gets hot? And UNC has what I believe is the most important part towards a uncharacteristic hot streak right now. Not talent. It's not experience. It's not any of that. It's confidence. Right? If you need a guy to hit 4 threes that hasn't been hitting threes, the thing you need to get him injected with is confidence. The best coaches instill confidence in their players, regardless of what's going on. UNC right now is overflowing with confidence. And that, to me, is the difference between UNC against Duke this time and UNC against Duke last time. Now, here's the real kicker. Duke also has a ton of confidence right now. Right? The hard part about sitting here and hyping up what UNC has done is everything UNC has done, Duke has been doing just a little bit better. Or in some cases, a lot a bit better. Right? I talked about it yesterday, that the Virginia Tech win for UNC a couple of nights ago felt monumental. It felt huge, right? It felt very, very big because they looked like a mile ahead of a middle-of-the-pack ACC team. They won by 32 points, and that felt seismic until you recognize the last 4 games all against power conference opponents, 3 of them in the ACC. Duke's won by at least 33. It's everything like, oh, UNC has all the confidence in the world. They haven't lost an X amount of games. It's like, well, Duke's only lost a couple all year. Hubert Davis is figuring out how to push the buttons of this team, right? They've started slow a few times, go into a timeout. Hubert Davis lays into them a bit. They come out playing much better. We talked about that with John Shire and Cooper Flagg months ago. Remember at the halftime, he was telling Cooper Flagg, you're playing soft? And then Cooper Flagg came out and dunked on a bunch of people, and we're like, boom. That was months earlier than the same conversation we're having about UNC. UNC looks confident. You find me someone more confident looking on the court than Isaiah Evans even. And he comes off the bench a lot of times for Duke. He comes off the bench, and within 4 seconds of being on the court, he's launched 2 threes. He's clapped a bunch, and he's done the, I don't know what the thing is, where you put the 3 fingers over your face to make a mask. He's done that. He's been on the court for like 12 seconds. I'd be surprised if Duke lost, but it wouldn't be the first time I'd be surprised by a game in the UNC-Duke rivalry, particularly when the road team is the favorite. Should be a good one. Should have a ton of stakes. UNC's playing for their NCAA tournament hopes. Duke's playing for the #1 seed in the ACC tournament and their place in history as far as best regular season ACC squads that we've had in a very long time. And we'll break it down some more tomorrow leading up to it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Tim Donnelly here now for Miller Lending. Rates, they've fallen a half point from their peak earlier this year. Rates go up, rates go down, but when they go down, we all get excited, right? And I want to refinance. The issue is when you refinance, so many brokers are going to ask you for a bunch of cash, right? Oh, we need those closing costs. Oh, we need those fees. All right, yeah, we'll get you a lower monthly payment, but it's going to cost you a handful of grand, right? A bunch of money. Not Gordon Miller, not Miller Lending. They have a no closing cost loan. That means no money out of your pocket. Zero means zero. They don't roll it in somewhere else. They don't tack on the fee somewhere else. Zero means zero. And they do that so you can refinance when rates drop and get that lower monthly payment without all of the yeah buts. And then if rates drop again, do it again. If rates drop again, do it again. There are people here at the office that have done it a bunch of times, left satisfied every single time. If you're interested, or you just want more information, right? It's a no-obligation call. Just call, ask for some more information, learn about how it works. Give them a call, 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377. Or you can visit them online at millerlending.com. Once again, that's millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, and MLS number 250-2146. When we come back, it is football at 4. There's a lot of news in the NFL, and one name I keep hearing about for potentially the 8th pick with the Panthers. I'll tell you why. Buyer beware for many Panthers fans' first choice. Stick around.
Move your sports day forward.
So understand in the job interview with Dave Canales, he loves a good backstory. So if you want to be his friend, get this. If he asks you the sky is blue, tell him it's blue, but it's Carolina blue. And it was the blue sky that you saw when you were flying kites with your aunt after your favorite goldfish died. There you go. Top 10 pick.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection, one that helps better their everyday through the things they value most: friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's life unlimited. That's Spectrum.
For nearly 140 years, the Salvation Army of Wake County has been serving our community, providing shelter, clothing, food, and emergency disaster services to those in need. Now the Army needs our help. With an increase in demand for services, they need help restocking their food pantry. Items needed include canned goods, pasta, and rice. Your generosity can make a big difference for a struggling family. Help the Army, help others. Donations can be dropped off at the Salvation Army Center of Hope at 1863 Capitol Boulevard in Raleigh.
This is the story of the one. He's responsible for keeping a leading healthcare facility clean and safe. And he trusts Grainger's high-quality HVAC cleaning and safety products, combined with their world-class supply chain, to consistently deliver, ensuring he's covered inside and out, so he can focus on keeping his facility clean to help protect the health of everyone inside. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Dear McDonald's, your breakfast menu? Fire. 10s across the board. I could be happy with anything, even though I order the same thing every time. Thanks for not judging me. I'll try something new next time. Maybe.
Get your faves for less. Buy a sausage McMuffin with egg for $2.50 at any size Sprite for $1.49. Price and participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Jackson Hewitt wants you to save money on tax prep. We're saving money by having our intern rap in this commercial.
Don't stress, Jackson Hewitt's got expert tax prep, $149 or less. Yo, some tax guys lie about price. They got hidden fees, that ain't nice. Ain't nice. Don't ignore MC Kevin's rhyme, cause this deal's for a limited time. $149.
For tax prep that's $149 or less, hurry into Jackson Hewitt today.
No cap.
Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL Raleigh, Elizabeth Gardner. It's breezy out there this afternoon. We'll see gusts 25 to 30 miles per hour. Not as windy as yesterday, but still, that's a chilly wind today. Temperatures will hold in the 50s this afternoon. A cold night tonight under clear skies. We drop down to 33 and then to nearly 60 for tomorrow under partly cloudy skies.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcomb&company.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 433 points to 42,572. Market update brought to you by Lufthansa. Lufthansa is excited to take off from Raleigh Durham International Airport, connecting you to destinations like Germany, Italy, India, and beyond. Say yes to incredible journeys. Book today at Lufthansa.com.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We are less than 50 days to the NFL draft, and the NFL news is cranking. We're also, it's 7 or 8 days till the new league year, 6 or 7 days until legal tampering, when you can start talking with free agents. 5 days to legal tampering, 7 days to league year. I'm being corrected. Time flies when you're 4 days. It's not much time until the next league year is what I'm going to settle on. And there's one name that I'm starting to get the feeling, right? Larger sample size. The more and more I hear the pulse of Panther fans, the more and more I'm seeing Tetairoa McMillan, 6'4.5" wide receiver from Arizona, the Wildcats. That's who the fans want at number 8. Now, buyer beware, okay? I'm not saying it's a bad choice. I'm not saying you're wrong for wanting it. I'm not even saying I hate the logic, because I think you need a number one wide receiver, and I think Bryce Young does well with that style of player. So I'm not knocking the idea. I'm saying buyer beware, because I'm like a salesperson right now who cares about you, the buyer. Right? I'm a salesperson that wants the sale. I want the commish. Don't get me wrong. I want you to spend the money, but I also want you to know what you're getting into. I don't want you to bite off more than you can chew. McMillan might be great. T-Mac, as they call him, could be transcendent. And the reasons why he might be, right? Go watch the highlight film. My guy is smooth. Hands like sticky tack. There's the one play where he's in shorts and a T-shirt, and they throw him a back shoulder fade, and he jumps, and he looks like Paul George, like a 6'7", 6'8" wing going up for a dunk, snags it with one hand, takes it between the legs, takes it between the legs the other way, all before he hits the ground. It's like an NBA Street video game move, like a game breaker. That's the ceiling, right? He might be transcendent. There's also the risk. I'm not sure he can separate it in the NFL. I think McMillan is the definition of boom or bust. Right? I think it's the definition of we could be looking back 4 years from now and you'll be saying, Tim, why did you ever say anything but positives about McMillan? There's also the possibility 4 years from now you're going to look back and say, that guy went number 8 overall. If he can separate, he's a stud. I wanted him to work out at the combine, and he didn't. Okay? And not just like he's admitted he won't test well. I believe he was quoted in The Athletic before the season saying he would expect his vert to be like 32 and his 40 time not to be fast, and people were surprised. But if you're field fast, you're field fast. We just don't even know that. Right, I'm expecting to be underwhelmed by his timing numbers if he works out at Arizona's Pro Day. Well, the reason why I wanted him to work out at the Combine is because I wanted to see if he was Puka Nacua fast. Puka Nacua fast is field fast. Puka ran a 4.57 40 at the Combine. For a number one wide receiver in the NFL, that's not great. But, the gauntlet drill, you see it in the Combine every year, where the pass catchers, tight ends, and receivers do it. They run down the yard line, and they catch left, then catch right, then catch left, then catch right, all the way down. Then the last one they catch and get up the sideline. Puka Nacua was the fastest person in GPS timing during that drill in his Combine. So he may not be the most track star fast, but you put a ball in his hands, he's faster than everybody else. That's what I wanted to see about McMillan, and we won't get that. His in-game GPS speed, according to Real Analytics, we're talking McMillan, peaked out around 20 miles an hour. For comparison, Isaiah Bond from Texas, 22.1. Travis Hunter, the Heisman Trophy winner, another wide receiver / corner, 21.4. Elick Aominer from Stanford, 21.5. Most of the guys known as elite separators, faster than that. Now, that's the ceiling, that's the floor. And if you listen to this show often enough, first of all, you're the real MVP. I appreciate it. My personal is risk tolerable. Like I'm not risk averse. I have no problem swinging for the fences. I want the Canes to keep Mikko Rantanen and swing for the fences. Don't trade him, right? Try to risk lowering your floor and leaving with nothing, but the ceiling could be you get a 100-point producer for the next 8 years. Like, I'm about risk taking, but I also understand you can't risk take every time. Xavier Legette was a risk last year in the first round. You traded up into the first round to take a raw, toolsy ability wide receiver with a 1-year breakout in college. Last year, less than 500 yards receiving. That doesn't, statistically, turn into a long Super Pro Bowl career if you have that much struggle your rookie year at wide receiver. Jonathan Brooks, your second-round pick last year. Another high-risk, high-reward player. If he got healthy, if he stayed healthy, he could transform your offense. He didn't get healthy quick, and once he got out there, he got hurt again. I'm not sure after taking high risk, high reward and striking out your first and second round last year, you want to go right back to the high risk, high reward with a top 10 pick this year. Especially in a draft where there are more sure things at positions of greater need. And edge, or maybe not greater need's not even the right way to say it. Equal need. The Panthers they've got a lot of things they need to fix. If there's somebody who's more likely to be a top-level contributor, I think you go there. Even with the acknowledgement, right? Even with the complete acknowledgement that if McMillan hit his ceiling, it could be transformative for Bryce Young and for that entire offense. Gosh, I wish, right? If I could, like, wiggle my nose for you one time and go, is that Bewitched? Or I Dream of Jeannie? I forget which one. If I could wiggle my nose and grant you a wish, it would simply be that this were some other free agency year.
Yeah, for sure.
Because right now, with the 8th pick, I think you're going to have your choice of some really good edge rushers. What did we learn today? Trey Hendrickson's or the Bengals have given all-pro edge rusher Trey Hendrickson the right to seek a trade. What did we learn yesterday? Joey Bosa was cut by the Chargers, so now he's available to sign. What did we learn today? Javon Hargrave, he's not an edge, but he's an interior defensive lineman, has been told by the Niners he'll be cut the first day of the new league year. It's like, oh, man. You could have solved edge rusher in free agency or trade if only there was last year's wide receivers available. Number 8 could have been Roma Dunze, could have been Brian Thomas last year. Those guys seem like much higher floors and probably as high a ceiling as somebody like Tet McMillan.
Here's also the biggest question you got to ask, right? Is Tet McMillan the 8th best player in this draft? Yes or no?
No.
Then
they're shades of gray, though, because, positional premium does matter, right?
Sure.
Like most have Ashton Genty as a top 4 player in this draft. Nobody has him going, 3rd to 4th to the Patriots. You know what I mean?
Hey, you never know.
I said Patriots, not like Raiders or Cowboys. There are some teams I might be thinking would make that move. There is positional importance. Premium positions, based on how much money they get paid, you get a better deal with them on a rookie contract. That's why quarterbacks get drafted so high, because rookie contract quarterbacks are a cheat code, baby.
Mm-hmm.
You can spend elsewhere when you got a rookie contract quarterback, which the Panthers should do, by the way. I'm not sold on this receiver class. I'm not, and you know what? Maybe you try to have your cake and eat it too. All right, we talk about trading back, and it takes 2 to tango, and you'd have to find someone willing. Maybe you can trade back, get something, and still get McMillan if that's your guy. If you trade back to 14, 15, 16, somewhere in there, maybe that's an option. And if, he's taken in the meantime and those picks between, you can still end with a pretty good edge rusher and someone, the additional draft capital. But I don't like predicting that kind of stuff because it's darn near impossible. As I said the other day, this is the first time since the merger, which is back in, I believe, the 60s, that at this point in the calendar year, every team has their original and own first-round pick.
Which is kind of wild to think about.
Nobody's traded it.
Not yet.
Exactly. So I'm saying it just shows, like, you think you know, you don't. This is never – where we are right now has never happened. It's like that the stupid statistic. If you've ever shuffled a 52-card deck, there's a good chance that exact order has never happened in history on any deck ever. Yeah. I read it online. It has to be true. Because 52, the cards, the spades, the like, if you shuffle it up, the amount of different options for the order of those cards is like as many grains of sand in the world. Again, I read it online. That must be true. If it's not, don't burst my bubble. It's a really good analogy that I use sometimes.
No on-air math.
How many different combinations and orders of 52 cards in a deck could you find? Let me try to carry the 2.
It's 52 to the 52 power.
Yeah, do that math. I don't want the equation. I want the answer. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we get to our ladder challenge coming up, and senior night did do me well, here's Dennis Cox. He has some info for you.
Hey, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Folks, college basketball season, it's full go. And fans are ready to see which teams will prove they're ready to shine in March and who will be seen in San Antonio. You can get in on all the action from tip-off to the final whistle at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Right now, new ESPN Bet Sportsbook customers can bet $10 to get $100 in bonus bets and unlock 30 days of ESPN Plus. Download the app and sign up with the promo code Radio100 today to get started. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Just to back myself up here, a website called quantumbase.com, which sounds like smart people would run that.
Yeah.
The chances that anyone has ever shuffled a pack of cards fairly in the same way twice in the history of the world or will ever again are infinitesimally small. Yeah. That'll rack your brain right there, right? I go cross-eyed thinking of that one. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Ladder challenge where hopefully our math leads to more money than the math that we just talked about there. Stick around.
Listen for the...
Oh my goodness!
Check in for the...
Beautiful back cut and a two-hand jam.
Don't miss the...
Race to the other end. Get ready for the show!
What was that?
A reverse pull-up! My goodness! Hubbard got hit, and he made the shot!
You're home for the Final Four from San Antonio.
Cooper got it to rattle home!
99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
It's bow time.
Finally, lunchtime. I'm starving.
What's that?
This is the Bojangler from Bojangles.
Ooh, with the same bold flavor as their chicken?
The same.
And fries.
The same.
Huh. Well, I've got a PB&J.
Yeah, that's not the same.
A crispy fish fillet dusted in Bo's famous seasoning. With cheese and tartar sauce on a fluffy bun, the Bojangler's back. Hook one while you can. And it's bow time.
There's no time like Bojangler time. Time to stop whatever you're doing and head over to Bojangles to try the Bojangler Fish Fillet Sandwich. You heard right, the Bojangler Fish Fillet Sandwich. A perfectly seasoned, light, flaky, wild-caught Alaskan pollock fish fillet sandwich. For limited time at participating Bojangles. Make it a combo and add Bojangles seasoned fries and legendary iced tea. Hungry for Bojangles but in the mood for something different? Then it's Bojangler time.
At Rocket, we believe everyone deserves their shot at the American dream. So if you're feeling locked out of home ownership, we're here to give you back the keys. We're opening doors, breaking down walls, and doing everything we can to turn renters into owners. And we're not going to stop until we help everyone home. To find out more, visit rocket.com. Rocket. Own the dream.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The Offspring. Supercharged worldwide in 25. One unforgettable summer night. The Offspring. Live in Raleigh. With special guests Jimmy Eat World and Newfound Glory. Playing Coastal Credit Union Music Park, Raleigh, July 16th. Get tickets this Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. 3 great bands. One incredible show. Part of the Mattress Warehouse Concert Series.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Rantanen shot, he scores! Mikko Rantanen feeling right at home here on Whalers Night.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'm only half joking here. Have the Canes thought about going back to another Whalers night just to get Mikko Rantanen rolling again?
I mean, why not?
It worked the first time. I've also decided this. I don't know if it's going to happen, but if and when Mikko Rantanen signs his long-term contract, the next thing you will hear from me into this microphone is a Moose call. When he signs that 8-year, 106, whatever it ends up being, that 8-year, $14 million deal, you're getting Moose calls. That's what I've decided. It's been a while since we got to sound the makeshift Moose calls, which mostly just sound like a dying cow.
Tonight might be your last chance.
Maybe, and if a trade happens, you'll just get sad Moose. You're like, oh, like that. That's all you'll get. All right, that's what we're talking about here. And by the way, that's also my way of saying no news at the moment. We are counting down the hours until the trade deadline in the NHL. Tomorrow, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We will be on air right at 3 to react to whatever happens. But I did promise you earlier in the show that we will be staying as up-to-date as possible, staying in touch with the people we know who know things. And I've got nothing for you right now.
Oh, trust me, I'm refreshing the timeline.
I've got nothing for you.
Every moment, it feels like.
And we'll let you know if we do get something. In the meantime, though, let's hit the ladder challenge. Dennis, did you win last night?
Yeah, I did.
All right, so you're in the lead. Go ahead and give your side of the story.
All right, so I had Brady Tkachuk, 2+ shots on goal at -900. Nailed that one. So, obviously, I'm going to go stick with what I do know, Tim, which, by the way, I'm actually up to over $12. I'm at $12.70 is what I'm up to right now. Because, making gains. I'm actually going to take Buffalo Sabres in the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight. Buffalo stinks. Tampa Bay's a good team. So give me the alternate goal total in this one. Over 3.5 goals. Pretty safe, -975. So my $12.70 will turn into $14 even.
I have small news here. This I'll get to my ladder challenge in a minute. But yesterday during the show, news broke that the Jags would be releasing Christian Kirk. A lot of times you say that publicly, but you don't actually sign the papers because you might trade them instead. Christian Kirk was just traded a deal before a release, according to Adam Schefter. Jags are trading Christian Kirk to the Texans for a 2026 7th-round pick that originally belonged to the Rams. Diana Rossini had it first. That is about as small news as possible. But I do think the Panthers are in the market for wide receiver help. I don't think Kirk was that guy, but now maybe that takes the Texans out of the market for somebody that the Panthers would be interested in. Maybe they were in the mix for a DK Metcalf, and now they have Kirk, and they're like, actually, we got Nico Collins, we got Kirk, and one day in the distant future, Tank Dell. So we're good now. So, again, just updating you on the market. Now, my last night for the ladder challenge, I played the narrative. I knew that on senior night, a lot of times seniors make sure they get theirs. So I took Dontrez Styles for NC State to get more than 8 points scored versus Pitt. I pretty much exclusively take overs on seniors on meaningless senior nights. He had 13 and 13, a little double-double, 13 points, 13 rebounds. Good day for him. Took my $10 to $11.81.
I know you were trying to look and see if you can get a line on Breon Pass yesterday. I know you didn't find one.
I couldn't find one. Would have been glorious.
Which, by the way, first career start for him last night, drops 14 points.
Hit the first shot of the game, drilled it, looked confident. Wouldn't it be? Keats is going, maybe I should have played him a little bit more over the last 4 years. If only he would have showed me this earlier. Dude's a gamer. I actually really like Breon Pass.
Yeah.
Going back, I love, to be honest, multi-sport athletes, and Breon Pass, heck of a football player.
Yes.
So
he was being recruited by a lot of D1 ACC schools.
I just like that kind of archetype of athlete. So I'm a big Breon Pass fan, and I'm glad he had that moment last night. He was also very proud being a 4-year player, tweeted out some cool stuff. It was just a cool moment. End of a long season for NC State. And they still have one more game at Miami.
Yeah.
Talk about the bottom of the barrel, just scraping by. That game. two teams not making the ACC tournament. Go ahead.
By the way, 10 minutes, first goal scorer.
Oh, you're exactly right. Actually, that plays perfectly into my ladder challenge. Have your first goal scorer predictions. In 10 minutes, we will be accepting on the phone lines your first goal scorer predictions. 3 of you give us a player to score the first goal of the game tonight for the Canes against Boston and the period in which they will score it. If you get that right, you will earn or win a Apex Racing Lab prize. And if you don't get through on the phone lines for bragging rights, you can always comment on our YouTube 99.9 The Fan live stream in the comments, player and period, and any other details you want to throw in.
So who's your ladder challenge pick?
My ladder challenge is Canes Bruins tonight's game.
Okay.
I'm taking over 0.5 goals in the first period total.
Okay.
I've teased it down. It's minus 630. This is just me playing a hunch.
Just no matter who scores.
I wanted it to be the Canes.
Okay.
But then the odds weren't long. We need minus 500 to minus 1,000. So I was like, fine, give me the Bruins too. I don't care who scores. I'm playing a hunch that the Canes are fed up. I'm playing a hunch that they're going to be as aggressive as they've been all year, even in their 2 recent wins, because they're on a 2-game win streak. They haven't scored enough. The power play is getting crushed. The Rantanen line's getting crushed. I have a feeling, and again, it's just a gut, that it's enough is enough. We're coming out today, and we're going to score. And if we don't score, we're going to go down shooting. I want like Aho, Rantanen, Jarvis, Fetch, multiple shots on goal in the first period. Maybe even like Gostisbehere, multiple. Like I want 3 shots from everybody. And again, it's just playing the old gut feeling on this one, which it's been up and down in the gambling world. But that will take my $11.81 up to $13.68 if we get it right. Exactly. You had that brought up. I did not say I was going to use enough is enough. Dennis had that right at his fingertips. Exactly. That's the energy I want from the opening puck drop. You know what I might do if I were the Canes? Kokaniemi, fight at the puck drop. Remember last time? Hey, we haven't been home in a while.
That's right.
And it sparked everything
On a Whalers night.
and got everybody going. It gets the people going. That's what I want to see. We're going to have to rapid fire through this thing. We have an ACC Cons and Cons started up here, so let's get and fire that up. What was that, Dennis?
Well, to play great defense, you need one thing above all else.
Okay.
That starts with a W. Confidence.
We're going to roll through this because we have first goal scorer predictions coming up at 4:33. We'll hit the triangle teams at least. We'll start with NC State. They had their senior night last night. Dennis, what are you most concerned about for the Wolfpack?
Concern is their future. It's just so much uncertainty. You have so many guys leaving the program as is. You don't even know if your head coach is going to be back next year. There's just so much uncertainty with the future of the program. People don't know whether to get behind it or not.
Same thing with me. Roster turnover and stability. 6 seniors. Portal's going to come calling. And if you're a prospect out there, would you commit to a perhaps coach that's not on super stable footing? I don't know. Even if it's not like a lame duck coach exactly, might seem that way, and I know teams you're recruiting against will say it that way. There's just not a very strong foundation right now. What are you confident in for NC State?
Are you same thing concerned?
Yeah, same thing. Roster turnover and stability is what I've written down.
Confidence is you do have the ability to turn things over. If you really want to start fresh, look at Louisville with Pat Kelsey. Or even if it is Kevin Keats and he can bring in a whole new roster, you have that ability to restart fresh.
Duke had 2 players return from last year.
Yeah.
One of them isn't even really in the rotation very much, and Caleb Foster.
That's right.
And they're one of the best teams in the country. My confidence, and this is an analogy, there's no potpourri. There's nothing to mask the smell, right? Rock bottom, sometimes you gotta hit that to change. The run last year probably kept them from addressing some harsh truths in the offseason. Right, they were 11th in the ACC last year, not playing great at times, and they went on that run. So the offseason felt like, hey, we're doing everything right. That's really just one hot streak that became legendary. This year, they're naked in front of the mirror with good lighting. Right, all your flaws are right there, and you can't hide. So they're gonna have to fix them. Let's jump to UNC. Cons and Cons. What are you most concerned about? What are you most confident about? Dennis, you can continue leading off. What are you concerned about with UNC?
It's still their lack of size. That overall, I know they're using a bigger lineup, as in they're basically playing their biggest guys, but still the lack of size for me, especially when it comes to their guards and their backcourt. trying to trust Cadeau and RJ Davis to guard bigger guards, guys that might be 6'4". It's going to be difficult for them to do. So, me, it's the lack of size, especially at the guard position.
I still have this question about UNC. What happens against better competition? They're playing their best basketball the last 6 games, but it hasn't been a murderer's row. And can you keep playing the way you've been playing when you face inevitably more adversity, when you face inevitably a team that can match your Jalen Withers size and shooting? Like there's a hot streak right now, but we haven't seen it against a top 25 opponent yet. We'll see that on Saturday. What are you confident about for the Tar Heels?
My confidence for them right now is that everyone, we've heard Hubert Davis talk about this, it seems like everyone has settled into what their role is and has bought into their role.
You know when a politician has been told by their media coaches, hey, I need you to say change, or I need you to say education forward 700 times in this debate. Hubert has said settled in his media availabilities over the last 5 days 1,000 times. You ask him hey, Ian Jackson was great off the bench. He's like, yeah, the team is just settled and everybody's settled. I'm like, all right, we know what your message is. He has said settled a billion times. I've noticed. And now you won't be able to unhear it. Like if you hear a Hubert Davis presser, you're just going to count settleds, and I'm sorry for doing that to you. My confidence is Drake Powell and Ian Jackson. They aren't freshmen anymore, right? Once you hit the end of the regular season, and this is the last game of the regular season coming up Saturday, I consider you sophomores. You've played a full season. You have the experience. Those guys are really good. Jackson off the bench or in the starting lineup. Powell mostly starting now. They're good. They're talented. They're 5 stars. Duke, the last team we have to hit here before we get to Kane's first goal scorer predictions. What are you concerned about? You got to look hard, but what are you concerned about for Duke?
My concern for them is just health. Malik Brown with the shoulder injury, still dealing with that. We know that. Tyrese Proctor came back, talking him into the locker room after the last game against Wake Forest. He's like, you know what, still not 100%, but getting stronger day by day. But he is still playing. But it just might be a little health, because I think Malik Brown is such a vital piece for them defensively for that team, and he really completes that roster.
My concern is youth and inexperience in clutch moments. Remember what happened when Duke was in close games against really, really good teams like Kansas and Kentucky in the non-conference schedule, and the freshmen locked up in the final minute? Cooper Flagg with 3 turnovers in the final minute of those 2 games. Con Knipple with a turnover. Against Clemson, once again, Cooper Flagg fell, like he lost it and slipped.
Wet spot on the floor, slipped.
But if it was one time, it's now 3 games when it was a 1-possession game. He's dribbled it off his foot, he's slipped, gets a little heart rate racing in those moments, and I don't blame him for it. He's like 18 years old and 17 during the early games, but they just haven't had many chances to practice that, right? It's part of the curse of beating everyone by 30 is you don't get 1-possession late in game reps very often. So I'm just a little concerned about how they react if and inevitably when they need to make a winning play in the last minute. Obviously, they're still recklessly talented and could make it. We just haven't seen it yet. Confidence. What are you confident about for the Duke Blue Devils?
Lineup versatility. That's always going to be my confidence with them. Lineup versatility. There's so much that you can do with that team. Defensively, if you want to go to its zone, you can do that. If you want to switch 1 through 4 or 1 through 5, you can do it. There's so many guys that can play so many different spots, that can do so many different things, and are really good at all of them. To me, it's their lineup versatility.
I'm just going to read a sentence I've written down. Cooper Flagg is the best basketball player in college this season. Basketball is a lot of times the one dude, right? Football, baseball, hockey, one guy, I don't know if it changes everything as much, right? You need to have the team around. I'm not saying Duke doesn't, but I'm saying you start with a massive advantage if you have the best guy on the floor. And I've yet to see a game where Duke played and they didn't have the best guy on the floor, and that includes when Duke played Auburn and John I. Broome, the other betting favorite to be National Player of the Year, was on the floor. That includes against Kansas when Hunter Dickinson, who's been a multiple-time All-American, was on the floor. And that includes when they played UNC and RJ Davis, the reigning ACC Player of the Year, was on the floor. Cooper Flagg's that. There's a reason why teams are tanking for Cooper in the NBA. It's that simple. Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That was a lightning edition of ACC Cons and Cons. And with about 25 seconds to spare, we will prepare for a little first goal scorer predictions. This is how it works, everybody. We have now opened up the phone lines. 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. Heister Automotive Group Hotline. Who do you think will score the first goal for the Carolina Hurricanes tonight at home against Boston? And in what period do you think they will score that first goal? If you get both right and you're one of our 3 official contestants that make your predictions live on air, you will win an Apex Racing Lab gift card. If you do not get through on the phone lines, you can still, for bragging rights, head to our YouTube live stream, 99.9 The Fan on YouTube, and make your predictions there in our live stream comments. And we'll monitor them. We'll read a few on air. And if you get it right, we'll give you your just due. Oh, the prize, an ultimate sim racing experience from Apex Racing Lab. Rev up your engines at Apex Racing Lab, the Triangle's largest sim racing destination. Experience the ultimate thrill with 20 cutting-edge simulators, expert instructors, and world-class virtual tracks. Located in Carys-McGregor Village in Greater Raleigh, visit Apex Racing Lab today and unleash your racing passion. Learn more at apexracinglab.com. Once again, that is apexracinglab.com. We have our contestants on the line. They are filled up. Taylor and Holly Springs is up first. Taylor, welcome to the show. Thank you for calling. Who scores the first goal for the Canes and in what period?
I'm thinking it's going to be Jarvis, and as much as I hope it's in the first, I think it'll be in the second.
Okay, so your official, I just want to make sure we lock it in. Your official prediction is second period?
Yes, sir.
All right. You don't have to call me sir, but I appreciate it. Do you want to give us any more details? Is it a power play? Is it a deflection? Give us, just for bragging rights, your 2 official predictions are locked in, but how do you see Jarvis finding the back of the net?
I think it'll be assisted by Aho.
All right. Up there on the Aho Rantanen line. Hopefully that line gets going. I would love to see it. Appreciate the call. Stay on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to grab from you. Edward and Wendell, you're next up in our first goal scorer predictions here. Edward, who scores the first goal and in what period?
I think it will be Snechnikov, and I think it would be in the first. More specifically, it'll be with 14 minutes and 35 seconds. And it's going to be assist from Moose. I don't think that can even happen because they're not on the same lines, but I think some crazy line change is going to happen.
All right, I love the specifics. We'll just go ahead and say it's on a power play, right? Rantanen and Svech, they can be both out there at the same time. We'll add power play there. Appreciate the call. Stay on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to grab from you. And our final contestant here is Jim in Hillsboro. Jim in Hillsboro, welcome to the show. Who scores the first goal and in what period?
All right, I'm taking Jackson Blake in the first period on a shot somewhere within 5 feet of the goal.
All right. Why are you going with the rookie?
Because he has looked very, very good the last 4 or 5 games, and it looks like he's about due.
I completely agree with you. I appreciate the call. Stay on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to grab from you. Jackson Blake, just a quick observation here. And by the way, like I do, when I speak emphatically about the Canes, I believe I'm coming from more of a, like, I understand how athletes work. I do not pretend to be, somebody that grew up playing pond hockey. I do not pretend to be someone that would, talk X's and O's and scheme with Rod Brindamore, but I do think I know how locker rooms work and that sort of thing. But I do notice when, like, the people that know hockey and the people that maybe are a little bit more reactionary disagree. And at multiple times this year, I've seen the people who I trust, who I know are deep in their knowledge of hockey, are saying Jackson Blake is playing well. And then the overreactionary, maybe more surface-level opinions are Jackson Blake needs to be taken off a premier line. Why is he being given those opportunities? So I'll co-sign there for Jim that it sounds like he knows hockey, right? The people that I trust tend to agree with what Jim said there, which is Jackson Blake does a lot of good things, and even though he hasn't had the month where he scores 10 goals or whatever it is, he's doing some good things, and I expect him to be a good player. Maybe not a top all-star player, but a top 6 forward for the Canes for a decent amount of time there. So good observation by Jim, and he locked in the rookie in the first within 5 feet of the goal. Canes need more net front presence, I'll tell you that much. There's something like football run game like about just having a net front presence where it's like I'm just going to establish the physicality. Jackson Blake may need to, put 10-pound plates in his pockets in order to be over 200. But if he wants to get in front of the net and mix it up, I'm good. I want somebody up there.
We have a few submissions already, by the way, from our folks on YouTube live stream.
Well, let's hear it. And we also need to hear from you, Dennis.
Absolutely. We have Robert says Rantanen in the first.
Love it.
Brandon says Chatfield in the first, which I'm like,
love that.
Like that.
Well, first of all, I almost want to give Chatfield the credit for the first goal last game.
Oh, he was fantastic.
Unbelievable chase down, possessing the puck, and setting up. It was Stahl, right? Setting up Stahl.
Martinook, actually.
Martinook. It was the Stahl line. Setting up Martinook. That was shout out to Chatty. I don't know if we talked about that enough.
We have Justin says Jarvis in the first. We have Will that says Aho scores on a feed from Rantanen in the first period. So we have also Travis says, I love Travis's pick here. Travis says Svetch in the first. He's going to demolish a Bruin on the forecheck to force a turnover, then go straight to the net and get a deflection. So we have that one as well. And then Elton says Jarvis in the first.
What does Dennis say?
I'm a little torn on this one. To me, I feel like this is an opportunity for somebody that may be flying under the radar when it comes to goal scoring to get one today.
Fyodor Kochekov.
Sean Walker.
Not Fyodor Kochekov?
No, not Fyodor Kochekov. Though that would be
under
something.
the radar. Under the radar.
I mean, for real. Give me Sean Walker in the first.
Sean Walker in the first.
Sean
That is
Walker
under the radar.
First. Jumps up in the play, 3-on-2. He's the trail guy. Sean Walker.
It's
in
been
the first.
just a while since I think we've had a conversation about Sean Walker. Which is for, a D guy, that's not the end of the world, right? It means you're not getting Orloved very often. But also, yeah, he's a big dude. He can go up there and mix it up. Max. We have Max shadowing Dennis in the producer's room today. Max got to make a prediction. Max, first goal scorer. Who scores it and when?
If you were to ask me who I think will score first, I would say I'm Hall in. Taylor Hall, first period, and I'm feeling a power play as well.
First on the power play. All right. Dennis, did you give any more details beyond Walker in the first?
I did. It said 3-on-2 rush. He's the trail guy.
3-on-2. That's what I didn't write down. I'm going Mikko in the first.
There you go.
I'm going Mikko in the first. I might go Mikko until he is either not on the Canes or scores the first goal. I might just commit to that. Because it's positive vibes only around here. And then when it happens, you'll get a Moose call. I'll be doing the whole thing. Block out the noise, block out the trade rumors, play hockey. That's what it is.
Jacob says Hall in the first. Also, Dylan said Tyson Jost in the first.
I love a good off the board pick. I used to get a little obsessed with the off the board picks. Got a little crazy there for a while. Ryan Suzuki in his only appearance. But I still appreciate it when someone comes with a Jost or a Walker like Dennis did. I like people to come off the board a little bit. Drive with Tim Donnelly 99.9 The Fan. You can continue to make those first goal scorer predictions in our YouTube live stream comments. But the official contestants are Taylor, who went Jarvis in the second, Edward, Svetch in the first, and Jim, who locked in the rookie Jackson Blake in the first. If any of those three get it right, they will have a sweet gift card to Apex Racing Lab. Everybody else in the YouTube comments, playing for bragging rights. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have a feedback frenzy coming up, but first, here's Dennis.
Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Loan Pronto. Folks, stop letting high-interest debt weigh you down. Pay it all off in days thanks to Loan Pronto's new Rapid Equity Loan. Homeowners especially out there, listen up. Imagine a completely hassle-free way to cash out your home equity. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's all-new Rapid Equity Loan uses AI-driven tech to get you approved and cashed out in as little as one day. One client recently got $150,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their debt with 2 credit cards, car loan, and personal loan, saving over $1,500 a month. Low fixed rates, fast transfers, gets the cash you need to consolidate your debt and get a fresh start here for the springtime and for the new year. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much you qualify for. Imagine this time next week you could be credit card debt-free. Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto now, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan gets to a feedback frenzy. We hear from many of you coming up.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Svechnikov, tick-tack, tied, in Carolina on the man advantage.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Save made, rebound! Game over! Sebastian Aho gives Carolina a 4-3 win in overtime.
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
Hey, this is Luke with Newcomb & Company. We're a residential, commercial, plumbing, HVAC company who's been serving the community for over 70 years. Honesty is the biggest policy around here. You know, we take pride in everything we do, anything we touch. We're not one of those companies that come and throw it in and then you can't get a hold of them again. We're there with you, hand in hand. Here at Newcomb & Company, what stands apart from other companies is we actually do more than just AC and heat pumps. We do boilers, geothermals, furnaces, radiant floor, anything that is odds and ends that nobody else can touch is what we thrive on. At Newcomb & Company, we do same-day service. That's also another thing that helps us stand apart from other places is we do same-day service because we have enough professionals to get out to these houses to solve what the problems are. And we're on 24/7 on emergency basis, weekends, nights, holidays, you name it, we're there. If you ever need us, give us a call. Visit our website at newcombandcompany.com. As you always hear us say, your comfort is our business.
Shamrock. Everybody's Irish at Hibernian Pub's St. Patrick's Day celebrations. This year, there's double the Irish with 2 parties.
Come out for a wee drum.
Saturday, March 15th, Hibernian takes over Glenwood South from noon till 9 with live music, Irish dancers, bagpipers, and great food and drinks to celebrate all day. Then Monday, March 17th, there's a live DJ party on North Street next to Hibernian Pub on Glenwood from noon to 9. Get details at hibernianpub.com.
Jackson Hewitt wants you to save money on tax prep. We're saving money by having our intern rap in this commercial.
Don't stress, Jackson Hewitt's got expert tax prep 149 or less. Yo, some tax guys lie about Bryce. They got hidden fees, that ain't nice. Ain't nice. Don't ignore MC Kevin's rhyme, cause this deal's for a limited time. 149.
For tax prep that's $149 or less, hurry into Jackson Hewitt today.
No cap.
Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
This is the story of the one. As a quality technician in a food processing center, she knows that making the right call is the best way to avoid a recall. That's why she trusts Grainger's world-class supply chain to deliver the high-quality supplies she needs to help keep her production line, her equipment, and her customers happy and healthy. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This hour of the drive brought to you by Enbridge Gas, formerly Dominion Energy North Carolina Gas. Dominion Energy North Carolina Gas customers are now proudly served by Enbridge Gas. Looking forward to a bright future together. To learn more, visit enbridgegas.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We want to hear from you. We want you to be our watchdogs, our fact checkers, if you will, and just, you know, we want your opinions heard. So we do something every Thursday, and we might do it more often. I think we should. It's called the Feedback Frenzy. And what that means is Dennis looks for your feedback all over the internet, YouTube comments, to things we talk about, right? If we have a conversation, we post it, you comment. If it's a good point, if it's a good question, if it's a good argument, Dennis will grab it, bring it on air, and we will react. Dennis, take it away. What are we feedback frenzying today?
So a lot of comments about Mikko Rantanen right now. Obviously, the potential that he might be traded from the Carolina Hurricanes. This actually comes from our YouTube chat earlier today. This one comes from Brandon. Brandon says, ship Rants out of here. We have been significantly worse since the trade. Not saying it's all him, but get something back that we can retool with, someone who wants to be here.
Yeah, I hear you. Don't get me wrong. And also, let me explain. They have not scored enough with Mikko on the ice. Since he's shown up, there's obviously been uneasiness. I also tend to believe you don't get better by sending away really good players. You might short-term get guys that like fit more, but when you want to raise your ceiling, it comes with talent. And unless he becomes a malcontent, right? Because I do believe if you can have guys that upset the locker room, but I haven't heard any of that. So it's tough. I think there's time. You need time. And we'll talk about this, but the I like our group that became like the joke for the Canes for so many years at the deadline. I like our group. I like our group. I like our group. That is kind of low risk, low pressure, right? We didn't make the move to go win, so we can still build off of it. When you make the move, all the intensity gets higher. The last 2 years, the intensity has gotten higher. The risk for failure has gotten greater. And I'd rather live in that world than in, we're just going to keep everything the same and hope we get a 10% better. So I'm still in favor of signing Mikko and doing everything you can to sign Mikko.
Okay, yesterday we had conversations about the Carolina Panthers. Potential maybe free agent or trade targets, especially when it comes to maybe wide receivers, since the Panthers still need to get a little bit of wide receiver help. This one comes from Sam Sincere. Sam Sincere says, DK Metcalf feels like a reach. Chris Godwin would be a great fit, but to be determined. We have 3 wide receiver 2s with Leggett, Coker, and Thielen. The offense was looking great with them at the end of the season. Defense, specifically the front 7, needs to improve.
Great. Saying the offense looked great. Maybe pushing it a little bit. Looked a lot better. I'll give you that. The last game, it looked great.
It was great, that final game.
That last game, it was great. Here's the thing. Let's be generous and say you got 3 wide receiver 2.75s. Like, Adam Thielen has been maybe the best wide receiver 2 of a generation, right? When he was in Minnesota, you could say the wide receiver 2 maybe to a Diggs and then to Jefferson. Unbelievable. But he's going to be 35 next year, and guys don't get better late into their 30s. Xavier Leggett, you can put wide receiver 2 pressure on him, but do you want him out there in every 2 wide receiver set right now? Probably not. And Jalen Coker, I think we're all in love with because he's an undrafted free agent, and every undrafted free agent feels like you're stealing every time you get value out of him. But let's not pretend like, he's a first-round pick that fell to undrafted, right? He still has a lot of development to go, and it might be there. But you don't bet on those sort of things. I think it's more 2.5 3s than 1s and 2s. And DK Metcalf is really good. And Chris Godwin is just coming off injury. That's the only difference there. Metcalf is bigger, taller, faster, stronger than Chris Godwin, and he's not coming off an injury. So let's not complicate things. Chris Godwin does have the advantage of being familiar with Canales more recently, but both of them have a history with Dave Canales because Canales was in Seattle and Canales was in Tampa.
Okay, next one here. This is a conversation we had about UNC basketball yesterday. Since UNC basketball won on Tuesday night, we had a conversation about them really feeling like they're peaking at the right time, but is it good enough? This one comes from Ron Odell. At 20-11, which is UNC's record, I believe if UNC plays Duke a close game, they should make the tournament, especially if they win a game or 2 in the ACC tournament.
I think they have to do one or the other of beat Duke or make the ACC championship game. And probably look the part in the one that you like. If you lose to Duke, you can't get beat by 35. And if you bow out before the championship in the ACC tournament, you can't get beat by 35. You have to be like solid in one and win the other. Win Duke or win making it to the ACC championship game and look solid in the other, and I think they get in. So there's multiple paths to the NCAA tournament for UNC, but they've put themselves in this situation, right? They've put themselves where their back's against the wall a little bit, and they have to go out there and, metaphorically, kill what they eat, right? You have to go do it now rather than back up into the NCAA tournament.
All right, this on the same conversation. This comes from No Way Jose. No Way Jose says, as a Duke fan, 20 wins from UNC should be enough for the Tar Heels to dance. However, if they lose to Duke and the first game of the ACC tournament, it will be interesting. I think if they lose to Duke and lose the first game of the ACC tournament, they don't make it. That's my personal one.
We have to recalibrate a little bit. 20 wins in this ACC ain't what 20 wins in the old ACC used to be. Wake Forest is learning that. UNC can learn that. If you put together 20 wins in like 2007 ACC basketball, you might be darn near a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. You put up 20 wins this year, you better win the tournament, right? Just cover your bases. You better go win the ACC tournament if you want to make sure you're playing in the big dance. It's just we all have to recalibrate our expectations a bit based on this ACC versus the one we grew up with.
All right, this is the final one here. In our contest that we had for our predictions for first goal scorer.
Yep.
We had Dylan say Tyson Jost in the first period, first goal scorer for the Carolina Hurricanes. Our good friend Micah said Tyson Jost, LOL. Better chance the Canes trade for McDavid than that clown scoring a goal.
You know what?
Micah just throwing shade on Tyson Jost.
You know what that tells me?
What's that?
Canes have a much better chance of trading for Connor McDavid than I thought.
Yeah.
You ever seen that one? Right. Where it's a meme online where it shows a can of a particular cola or a bottle of cola. Mm-hmm. I won't say the brand. And then it says like the amount of sugar in this soda is equal to this many donuts. And they put like 10 donuts next to it. And the first comment is, honestly, this just tells me there's less sugar in donuts than I thought. It's like you learn the opposite rather than saying like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of sugar in that drink. Say there's not many in each donut. Tyson Jost has scored 2 goals this year in 21 games. So that means he's scored a goal in about 10% of his games.
One out of every
little less, 8-9% of his games. Did Micah just tell us there's a 8 or 9% chance the Canes are gonna trade for Connor McDavid?
Let's go. Rantanen for McDavid, straight up. Make it happen.
I don't even want to know the price. They might be trading.
I just told it to you.
They might be trading like local radio. They might be like, well, sorry, we all got to move to Colorado. McDavid.
No, Edmonton. We got to go Edmonton.
Sorry, Edmonton.
Thinking McKinnon over
there?
there?
I was thinking McKinnon. Either way, we all got to move to Edmonton. They're sending McDavid back.
If I'm forced to move to Edmonton, I might end up single.
It's like us. Cooper Flagg's in the trade. They're sending
Cooper Flagg.
They're sending away all of the concerts that come to Carter Finley. Like just everything's got to go on. The improvements to the Lenovo Center. It's all got to go that way. I don't know. Jost, he's got 2 goals. Way less likely to have an assist. The drive with Tim Donnelly.
Now I hope he scores tonight.
I hope he has just a bananas game. The drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We do have the starting 5 coming up. We will update you. Will there be news on Mikko Rantanen? A trade possibility. It's all part of this starting 5 coming up.
Listen for the did he just do that?
Johnson trying to step back for a 3. Bring it up. Left side. Boy, that was cold-blooded.
The deep looks from downtown.
Damas from the right block. Gives to Hawkins. Straight on. Triple. Good. They left him open, and he makes him pay.
The get that out of here's.
Bonner to the basket. Rejected by Renew, who saw that one coming.
Your exclusive home for the Final Four. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports leader.
Which of us, detective, do you suspect is the millionaire?
The evidence is everywhere. Your diamond necklace, Monty's new yacht, and the butler's new convertible. Admit it, you're all Maximilian scratch-off winners.
Of course we are. With 25 prizes of $1 million, you could be too.
New Maximilian from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 2.95. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Dear McDonald's, your breakfast menu? Fire. 10s across the board. I could be happy with anything, even though I order the same thing every time. Thanks for not judging me. I'll try something new next time. Maybe.
Get your faves for less. Buy a sausage McMuffin with egg for $2.50 at any size Sprite for $1.49. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. All right, everything for the exterior of your home. Do you have a favorite?
I have a favorite, yeah.
I want to hear
it. So windows, doors are my favorite products. The reason why is because we are the best at installing them. You know, there's 1,000 different types of windows on the market, doors on the market, different people installing them, different companies. I don't care how good a window you get. If it's not installed properly, it's not going to do you a bit of good. I always tell people, if you buy a submarine window, the best one in the world, and you have me put it on a submarine, you don't want to get in that submarine.
I don't want to get in the submarine either way.
I hear you. So anyway, so that's the thing I say. So it's really important that you have things installed properly. We've been around since 1961. We've got a 4.9 out of 5-star Google review ratings, over 800 reviews. Give us a call. We'll come out and give you a free no-obligation estimate.
It's the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. You can find them online at aluminumcompany.com.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Kat Campbell. Grab your coat for a blustery and cooling evening. Overnight, lows dip back into the low to mid-30s again. It's not going to be as windy on Friday, but we will see more clouds, a high of 60. Saturday looks great, partly cloudy with a high up to 73.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money at the closing bell. Dow Jones down 427 points to 42,579.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. 5 o'clock now, so it is time for the starting five. And as always, we start with number 5. We start. There it is.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Mikko Rantanen, the talks are overwhelming. Okay? It's one of those deals where, if you're unfamiliar with it, you haven't been caught up. I don't know if we've done the full Cliff Notes in a while here, so I'll do it for you very quickly. The Carolina Hurricanes, weeks before the NHL trade deadline, which is tomorrow at 3 o'clock, made the big swing move for one of the top 10 players in the league, kind of universally seen as one of the top 10 players in the league, a forward from the Colorado Avalanche, Mikko Rantanen. Rantanen's contract expires at the end of the year. So it has now become obvious that the goal was to trade for Mikko Rantanen, sign him to a long-term extension before the trade deadline, and build your team around that going forward. For a host of reasons, that hasn't happened yet, the long-term extension. I believe Rantanen was more shell-shocked by the trade than people were expecting, so it took him some time to calibrate. There was a flu that ran through the Canes locker room, which made the first 4, 5, 6 games of Rantanen's tenure with the Canes kind of chaotic. There was the Four Nations Cup, which brought him away from the team almost immediately. And there's just been a dip in play, right? A dip in production from Rantanen, and now there's certain, he's unlikely to get to the 100-point plateau, which is so important, and all of these other things. Now, what are we down to? 22 hours until the trade deadline. Many have started calling for the Canes to trade Mikko, basically flip him, for whatever they can get so you don't lose him when his contract expires and he hits free agency this offseason for essentially nothing, or for a third-round pick when you send him to somewhere else a couple days before the trade deadline, like what happened with Jake Gensel last year. I am going to echo one of the most universal truths that I know in life. Scared money don't make no money. If you're scared of the Jake Gensel situation happening again, I can't help you. If you're scared of Mikko Rantanen choosing not to re-sign with the Canes, and now no free agents will ever choose the Canes because Gensel and Rantanen didn't want to play here. If you're scared, I got nothing for you. If you're confident, if you're going for it, I can get down with that. If you are a Canes fan that at any point in time in the last 10 years has complained about the Canes not making the all-in move at the deadline, not making the move for a goalie, not making a move for a top-line scorer, not making the move that'll get him over the edge, then I don't know how you turn around and complain about they've done it now and they want to keep their chips in the middle of the table for a little bit longer. They want to keep skin in the game. Listen to every deal, right? It's actually, I think Eric Tulsky, the GM of the Canes, who's only been at the job for a little less than a year after taking over for Don Waddell, who's now with the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think he's got a nice little reputation, which is he wants to be involved in every conversation. If there's a trade happening somewhere in the NHL, he's going to try to just be in the know, right? He's just going to try to call up, and he's active, and he's in every room listening to everything he can possibly listen to. The reason why I think that's a good reputation and a good strategy is that no one can ever get mad. Right? A player can't be like, you were talking about me in a trade. And he's like, I talk about everyone in a trade. That's my thing. I talk to everybody. So listen to the Mikko Rantanen trades, right? Listen to the offers. If you get absolutely blown away by a deal, feel free to make it, but do not feel pressured to salvage some kind of value because you don't want to get Genseled. Have some confidence, right? I feel like I'm like giving a pep talk to a single friend before they go to the bar, right? I'm like, walk up to the good-looking girl. You've got something to offer. Make her laugh. You've got interest. You're well-read, right? Make a reference. Do something. Buy her a drink. I'm looking at the Canes going like, sure, Mikko's got options. He could go home with any team in this bar. But you, darn it, you bring something to the table. You're the only team the last 6 years to win a postseason series in every year. Darn it, you have qualities that he may like. Does that work? Maybe. Because you know what else might happen? Pretty girl might say, ew, loser. That happens too. Then you come over here, you drink with your buddies. We get through it together and we try again another day. One day, someone will say yes. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That got sad at the end. I don't want it to get sad. Shots, right? You gotta rally. That's number 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Left wing O'Connell now. He dribbles to the top of the arc. Dishes left pass open off his screen. Catch, fires, open, drills it.
I'm just going to say real quick here, this one is going to follow the exact same beats. We're going to start happy. We're going to start positive. We're going to end sad. So just I'm upfront with it. It's going to happen. NC State senior night last night, men's basketball got the win, 71-63 over Pitt. It was good vibes. Breon Pass, just the second 4-year player under Kevin Keatts' lead at NC State. Just the second player to come in as a high school recruit and exhaust all 4 years of eligibility at NC State. Started the first time in his career, scored 14 points, made the first shot of the game. Michael O'Connell did his thing. Ben Middlebrooks did his thing. These are all double-digit scores. Jaden Taylor didn't have double digits, but still out there enjoying the vibes. Got the win. Dontrez Styles, who was only here for a year but was also a senior, double-double. It felt like they were in a bubble, right? All of the negativity about this year's NC State basketball season, it didn't matter last night. Last night was its own thing, and it was good vibes. Now we're going to turn to the sad part. The sad part is you wake up today, it's no longer senior day, right? The sad part is you wake up today and maybe you didn't pay attention to it last night. With Stanford losing last night after the NC State game, NC State was eliminated from ACC tournament possibilities, right? They were mathematically eliminated after their game ended, right? So they won and they needed Stanford to win. And as long as Stanford won, they would stay mathematically eligible. But it's over, right? Their season now has Miami on the road, and that's it. They will not play the rest of the year. And with that finality comes all the tough conversations they've been putting off. It comes the job security questions. It comes the transfer portal questions. It comes the, gosh, what the heck was that questions. Right, I'm to use a movie image, I'm imagining Bradley Cooper in The Hangover standing there in the hot sun on the cell phone like, yeah, I don't know what happened there. We can't find Doug. Like right now, State is like, that season was, we never found the right rotation. And that's a really cold, lonely place to be. The good news is, and I said this earlier, is there's no hiding from it right now. I think there were problems that showed themselves 2 years ago, problems that showed themselves last year for State, and then they went on that magical run to the Final Four, magical run to the ACC title, and you kind of got to distract everybody from those warts, those imperfections. This year you don't have that. There's no smoke and mirrors. Your imperfections were right there under the spotlight for everybody to see. So now you kind of have to, you got to own up to them, right? You got to fix them. And you know, there's plenty of stories of people hitting quote unquote rock bottom and then, finally getting their act together. Maybe that's NC State basketball. They are the first team in Division I history. I saw this tweet, to win their conference and then next year not make their conference tournament. That's I mean, I know records are records, right? I'm not sure you want that one. That's number 4. Let's hit number 3. The NFL league year starts up in a couple of days, which means teams are kind of taking care of all of the loose ends and making the hard decisions about their roster, right? The guys they can talk to. They can talk to players that were on their team this year. So if you want to make moves in free agency, once it opens up in a couple of days, you're going to need cash, which means you may have to cut some players, some expensive ones. If there's a player that's unhappy, you may grant them the right to seek a trade. It's happening all over the league. The Bengals are letting all-pro defensive end Trey Hendrickson seek a trade. The Jaguars traded Christian Kirk, wide receiver, to the Texans for a future 7th. The Browns are restructuring Deshaun Watson's deal again. I don't know how many. I mean, I guess they cleared $28 million in cap by restructuring the Deshaun Watson deal, but it seems like every restructure is the exact same. Guy's going to get a boatload of cash, and there's nothing they can do about it. There are, yesterday, Joey Bosa was released after a 9-year run with the Chargers. So there's options. DK Metcalf has been granted the right to seek a trade. Brandon Ayuk has been mentioned in trades. Javon Hargrave, a North Carolina product from Salisbury, North Carolina, big money defensive tackle, has been informed by the Niners that he will be released the first day of the new league year. All of this, ironically, most of the big news I've been seeing, outside of trades, right? Because we mentioned Joe Thuney traded yesterday, a few others. But a lot of the maneuvering has been wide receivers and edge rushers, which is fascinating because, to me, priority number 1 and 2, you can pick the order for the Carolina Panthers. Wide receiver number 1 and as many quality edge rushers as you can bring in. I'm not sure if you go the Joey Bosa or Trey Hendrickson route because of the expense if you are the Carolina Panthers. And I don't know if a guy like Joey Bosa would want to come to the Panthers, but it might. The trickle-down effect is real, right? Trey Hendrickson is going to be the big domino that will fall in the edge rusher world. And that means whoever was going to fill the hole wherever Trey Hendrickson was is now going to fill the second hole, right? The second highest budget place for a defensive end. And the Panthers may benefit from a bloated defensive end market. Because, all right, ready? The wide receiver market for the Panthers is not good because there's not a strong draft in wide receivers. So anybody that wants to improve in wide receivers is looking towards the available free agents and trade targets. Thus, the price will likely go up for those players because of supply and demand. I took micro and macro economics in college. It's about as far as I made it. The reverse can happen for edge rushers because there might be 8 edge rushers drafted in the first round of the NFL draft because it's that deep of a position. It's that good. You could see 9 or 10 even, like without being too crazy. Now you also mix in Joey Bosa, Trey Hendrickson, a few other guys that are reportedly available. That's just edges. If you mix in Javon Hargrave, John Allen, some other interior guys, Milton Williams from the Eagles, that could be available as interior defensive linemen, that price may drop a bit because why would you spend a ton for a free agent or a trade target defensive end when you know there's so many good ones in the draft and you could just go that route? The economics of it all is fascinating. Dan Morgan, the GM of the Panthers, has to navigate all of that, right? He has to be, I'm trying to think of a good analogy here. What is it? Last year, my wife and I bought a new car. My wife was all over the car pricing apps. She knew in what states cars were $200 more based on model. If this one was all-wheel drive, this one was four-wheel drive, this one was two-wheel drive, the colors that cost more. She was all over it. That's what Dan Morgan has to be. Or Brant Tillis, the assistant GM, has to be that for someone in the Panthers. Has to know the price, what's going up, what's going down. Does it make sense for us to send trade capital elsewhere to get a player who will then have to pay, or can we wait? It is a very, very complicated NFL landscape right now, especially in two of the positions that I think the Panthers need to tackle the most. We talked about it earlier today. You could, if you're comfortable with Tetairoa McMillan from Arizona, you could solve either edge rusher or wide receiver with the 8th pick in the draft. Which one becomes a very interesting decision. And there's only like 49 days to the NFL draft. So we have plenty of time to break it down. That's number 3. Let's hit number 2.
Just the two of us. And at the other end, it's Knipple. Cross court, Evans, a ball fake, and another 3. His 3rd, and he's the first into double figures with 10.
Duke at UNC on Saturday. This is a bit of a look ahead here towards a game with huge stakes. We've said it earlier. I've said it earlier. Max, our producer for segments today, has seconded it. If UNC beats Duke, I believe they're in the NCAA tournament. That right there should be enough to get the electricity through the roof in the building. Which would, by the way, would be a huge accomplishment for UNC based on where they were a couple of weeks ago. That's a big if, though, beating Duke. For Duke, if they lose to UNC and Louisville and Clemson both win their last games of the regular season, Duke falls to the 3rd seed in the ACC tournament, which is crazy to think of based on, at least the eye test, how much better Duke is than everyone else in the ACC. But they did lose to Clemson, and Louisville and Clemson have beat up on a bad ACC as well. So if Duke loses and Clemson and Louisville win, Duke falls to the 3rd seed. So they have stakes. Do you know what I love most about this game on Saturday for this particular year? UNC is playing good basketball. They're playing the best basketball they've played all year. You may not remember, but luckily, my job is to pay attention to this kind of stuff. When UNC played Duke the first time at Cameron Indoor, it was February 1st. UNC had lost 3 of their previous 4 games, their only win being an overtime game against Boston College at home. They had lost to Stanford. Yikes. They had lost to Wake Forest by 1. They then beat Boston College in overtime, which I know it's a win in the win column, might as well be a loss. And then maybe their worst loss of the year, they got beat by almost double figures at PITT. So they came into Duke reeling, and Duke smacked them around pretty much from the opening tip. But it also didn't feel like that was UNC's best punch, right? That felt like you caught them at a time where the room was spinning. This weekend, when they play Duke. They're coming off 6 straight wins, including their most dominant win really of the year on the road at Wake Forest on Tuesday. So I'm not saying that the outcome's going to be different. I'm not saying that Duke won't jump all over them. I'm saying you're getting the best version of UNC right now. And that just feels like, from a competitor standpoint, you want to beat the other team when they're at their best. Right? You don't want to, catch a team when their quarterback's hurt and you're going up against the 5th-round rookie in his first start. Although, you accept the win and you don't give them back. Competitor, you want to face someone at their best. This will be best on best. This will be Duke, especially if, Proctor doesn't have any setbacks and we don't know about Malik Brown's availability as an injured guy. But this will be Duke playing nearly their best basketball, UNC playing their nearly best basketball. Saturday, 6:30, ESPN, big game. I really, really like that as far as looking ahead to the rivalry. Stakes are there. Both teams are rolling. Rivalry, obviously. Setting you up for the ACC tournament. There's a lot going on there. Duke also might be playing for the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament, right? With Alabama losing, Auburn losing recently. They're really setting themselves up if they win out to be the number 1 overall seed. More stakes. That's number 2. Let's jump to the number 1.
The 1!
Rantanen shot. He scores! Mikko Rantanen feeling right at home here on Whalers night.
You aren't going to get away from the Mikko Rantanen trade discussions less than a day before the trade deadline. But the Canes also play a game tonight. They also just, flat out have a hockey game that they need to play. And it's Boston. And it's in the Lenovo Center. And the Canes, I'm going to say it this way. Right? I'm going to say it and pause for comedic effect, just so everybody knows. The Canes are looking to go streaking tonight. Pause for laughter. The Canes started 14-4 at the beginning of the year. Remember, Martin Necas, I think, was on pace for 800 points this season. It was every pass that he made would deflect and go into the goal. It was an unreal heater. They were playing great. Probably raised expectations for this season a little higher than even they should have been. But back on November 20th, they sat at 14-4. Since that moment, since November 20th, which was a long time ago now, they have only won 3 consecutive games once since November 20th. If they win tonight, 3 straight. Right? If they win tonight, streaking. What is, and I will go to my deathbed believing this, the most true statement in sports. Winning solves everything. Go on a little 7-game win streak and watch how all this complaining you're dealing with goes silent. Go on a little, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 win little streak here and watch how all of a sudden, the core's okay. Watch how all of a sudden, Rod's lines are fine. Score 2 power play goals tonight, right? And you know what? Score them early, right? Score them in the first 30 minutes, the first period or the first 10 minutes of the second period. Score 2 power play goals tonight and watch how suddenly all the complaining about the power play doesn't go silent because you got to do it consistently, but quiets down considerably. Winning solves everything. And I'm going to let you in on a dirty little secret of how I look at this Canes team. I still think there are a lot of good hockey players on it. And I still think everyone just needs to relax a little bit. I talked about this earlier, but a lot of fans used to complain about the I like our group, right? When the Canes didn't make a move or when they were coming up on a trade deadline or an off season, I like our group, right? Rod might say it. The vibe would come from the front office. I like our group. We don't need to make changes. I like our group. That comes with very little added pressure, right? At the trade deadline, if you stand pat, no one is then turning around and saying, well, you better win it all this year. When you make the all-in move, the pressure rises. Last year, they traded for Jake Gensel. Keep in mind, no first-round picks were given up. Keep in mind, no core players from their farm system was given up, right? They kept Nikishin, they kept Morrow, they kept Nadeau, they kept Unger Sorum, right? They kept so many of the guys everybody's really excited about. Yet still, it was like, all right, if you trade for Gensel, you better go win it. Didn't happen, right? Pressure maybe got to him a little bit. This year, they make an even bigger move. They send out Martin Necas. They send Jack Drury. They bring back Mikko Rantanen, and everyone's like, this better be the year. They go on a little bit of downturn. The pressure rises. There's a little bit of panic going on right now. Pressure could be creating some cracks, right? Pressure either makes diamonds or bursts pipes. I'm looking at it, and I'm saying, relax. There's no doubt in my mind the Canes are going to win 8 out of 10 games at some point this year. 7 out of 10 games at some point this year. If they do it now, all the chatter would go away a little bit and just give them some time to figure it out. Hockey fans are passionate. I love them for it. I was in an argument today. You ready for this? I mean, this is as crazy as a hockey argument gets. I was defending Wayne Gretzky. Right, because there's some Ovechkin over-the-top stuff going on right now. There's a record that could be potentially broken, and I was defending Wayne Gretzky, which, I mean, it's like at a certain point I just sent a GIF of Wayne and said, "You guys have fun with this one." But it's like the fanaticism is part of it, and it's part of the reason you love the sport, part of the reason you love the fans, part of the reason, I don't even know if everybody saw this, Rod Brindamore wrote a letter to the fans today about how awesome they are because they just had their, tonight will be their 100th sellout at Lenovo. Rod Brindamore, we got the best fans in the world. It's no doubt that, that had something to do with the fact that we've won all these home games. I love hockey fans. Sometimes I want to give them like a muscle relaxer or something. I just want to be like, hey, everybody chill. Want to give them a fruity drink with an umbrella in it and tell them to put their toes in the sand. Everybody just relax. And I'm kind of there with the Canes right now. Bruins, they're not having the best season that they've ever had. Their heart and soul, their captain's hurt right now. So you're catching them at a good time if you just want to go win a game. Right? Just go win the game. Score a couple power play goals, right? Get to that 3-game winning streak that you've only gotten to once since November 20th, and then go full point guard in the last 2 minutes. Palms to the ground. Everybody calm down. Everybody relax. And then refresh your Twitter feed every 2 seconds to find out if you're traded. That's the hard part for players, right? We saw it when they traded Drury and Necas away. They were like all out to breakfast or something like, I forget when it actually broke. They were walking to their cars and they all came back and were like, all right, well, I guess we got to say goodbye. They met in like the lobby of the hotel and shook hands with some of their best friends and said, we'll see you later. Like they're gonna be a little uptight away from the ice. But once that trade deadline passes, assuming nothing crazy happens, everybody can then exhale, take a breath, and just go play hockey. Because like I said, the dirty little secret that I use in my evaluation is I still think there's a lot of really good hockey players on the Canes. I don't think the roster's perfect by any stretch, but I think there's a lot of good hockey players on the Canes. We need some numbers game contestants here. We need a winner. Somebody's got to win, right? We just need like I said, we need good vibes here. So the numbers game prize for today is a pair of tickets to see the Lumineers. Lumineers are coming to Coastal Credit Union Music Park September 16th. If you want to win the tickets, if you want to win the numbers game, call in now. We need 2 contestants. The number to call, 919-860-5326. 919-860-5326. The numbers game is coming up next. Call in now.
Move your sports day forward.
So understand in the job interview with Dave Canales, he loves a good backstory. So if you want to be his friend, get this. If he asks you the sky is blue, tell him it's blue, but it's Carolina blue. And it was the blue sky that you saw when you were flying kites with your aunt after your favorite goldfish died. There you go. Top 10 pick.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hear that? That's the sound of digital instants from the North Carolina Education Lottery. With instant wins, progressive jackpots, and bonus games right from your phone. It's nonstop chances to win like you've never seen or heard before.
Oh, yeah! Big money!
Visit nclottery.com to get in on the action. Must be 18 to play. See prize and odds charts at nclottery.com/digital-instants for details. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's life unlimited. That's Spectrum.
It's bow time.
Finally, lunchtime. I'm starving.
What's that?
This is the Bojangler from Bojangles.
Ooh, with the same bold flavor as their chicken?
The same.
And fries.
The same.
Huh. Well, I've got a PB&J.
Yeah, that's not the same.
A crispy fish fillet dusted in Bo's famous seasoning. With cheese and tartar sauce on a fluffy bun, the Bojangler's back. Hook one while you can. It's bow time.
There's no time like Bojangler time. Time to stop whatever you're doing and head over to Bojangles to try the Bojangler Fish Fillet Sandwich. You heard right, the Bojangler Fish Fillet Sandwich. A perfectly seasoned, light, flaky, wild-caught Alaskan pollock fish fillet sandwich. For limited time at participating Bojangles. Make it a combo and add Bojangles seasoned fries and legendary iced tea. Hungry for Bojangles but in the mood for something different? Then it's Bojangler time.
Don't go through another year with all that high interest debt. Let Loan Pronto wipe it all out now. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan makes it easy to pay off all your credit cards or tackle that 2025 home improvement project. Get cash in your pocket fast. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's AI-driven tech gets you approved and funded in as little as 1 day. One client got $150,000 approved in under 24 hours. Paid off all their credit cards, 2 cars, and a personal loan, saving over $1,500 per month. With low fixed rates and lightning fast transfers, you can do it too. Consolidate debt, improve your home, take control of your finances. Imagine being credit card debt-free by this time next week. Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto now, 919-381-1760, or visit loanpronto.com. Get a free rate quote with no hard credit pull, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. The prize for today, Lumineers tickets. Lumineers coming to Coastal Credit Union Music Park in September. And we have a pair of tickets that will go to the winner of today's numbers game. The contestants for today, and I already know what the question is going to be, so they're going to be really excited that they called in today. It's Steve in Raleigh and Mark in Mebane. Steve, we always ask a question. Dennis picks his favorite answer. That person gets to go first. Are you ready for your question? We'll start with Steve.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Today could be the last day we get to do on-air Moose calls. Because if Mikko Rantanen is traded by the deadline, which some believe it should happen, some believe it will happen, and I just like doing this. So give us your best Moose call right now. Whichever one gives the better Moose call in Dennis's judgment will get to go first. Are you there? All right, there you go. That wasn't bad. Did you have to go somewhere where people weren't around? Is that what I heard? Did I hear you escape away to do a Moose call?
Yeah, I got my kids in the car, so I just pull over. They want to hear it on the radio.
That's funny. All right, there you go. Do you have any follow-up questions, Dennis?
No, I don't.
All right, we go to Mark and Mebane. Mark, you're up next. Mark, I assume you just heard the deal there. Could be the last time we get to do this, so give us your best Moose call, and if it's better than the one we just heard, you'll get to go first. Do you actually know what a moose sounds like? Was that like, I don't know if that was a really bad moose call or a really good moose call because I've never heard a moose.
Professional.
Okay. All right. Dennis, which one are you going with?
I think I have to go with the professional on this
one. All right. The confidence sold me. I don't
know.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if that's what a moose sounds like. You sold it.
There you go.
If you didn't know, you fooled me.
Steve and Raleigh gets to go second. Mark and Mebane gets to go first. Steve, stay on the line. We'll have your chance. Mark, you ready to pick a category?
Yep.
All right. The categories are NFL players whose first name begin with the letter S but are not Steve's. NFL players, it's called Take a P, all players with their first name starting with the letter P. NBA all-hyphen team, these are players with hyphens in their name somewhere. Or NHL Hurricanes only.
Hurricanes only.
Hurricanes only. All right, the way this works, I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. I will let you know. We will say the team in this category, even though you know it, it's Hurricanes. But it's more for timing to keep it fair with the other categories. Any questions before we get started?
Nope.
All right, your time will start when you hear the horn. Taylor Hall, Carolina Hurricanes.
No idea. 23.
Incorrect. Mikko Rantanen, Carolina Hurricanes.
22.
Incorrect. Taylor Hall, Carolina Hurricanes.
25.
Incorrect. Mikko Rantanen, Carolina Hurricanes.
24.
Incorrect. I'm not saying this to be mean.
I messed up terrible.
You did kind of give some Moose calls though. So you're just staying on brand. That's a 0. For those of you playing at home, Taylor Hall 71. Jesper Fost's old number, Taylor Hall took it. And Mikko Rantanen number 96. Jack Roslovic's old number, Mikko Rantanen took that over. Had to give him a watch in order to get it. Those were the two we were looking for. You were unable to get either, so you still have a very small chance because tie goes to whoever goes first. If it is a double offer, then your Moose Call will have won your your tickets. Let's go to who's up next. Stephen Raleigh. Stephen Raleigh, you are up now. Are you ready to pick your category, Steve?
Yeah, man.
All right. The categories are NFL players whose first name begin with the letter S, but there are no Steves. NFL players whose first names start with the letter P, or NBA all-hyphen team, players with hyphens in their name somewhere.
I mean, I feel like it's fate that my name is in that one category, so we'll go with that one.
All right. No, Steve is taking the one where there are no Steves. I'll give you the player and the team. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. You need at least one for the win, but keep going for the perfect score. Any questions before we get started?
Not at all.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Stephon Diggs, Houston Texans.
13.
Incorrect. Santana Moss, Washington Redskins.
81.
Incorrect. Stephon Diggs, Houston Texans.
14.
Incorrect. Santana Moss, Washington Redskins.
Pass.
Shannon Sharp, Denver Broncos.
84.
Correct. Sam Mills, Carolina Panthers.
51.
Correct. Scott Norwood, Buffalo Bills.
1.
Incorrect. Stephon Diggs, Houston Texans.
12.
Incorrect. You got enough for the win. You got Shannon Sharp with 84. For those of you playing at home, we also would have accepted 81. Sam Mills, you got that one. For the others, Stephon Diggs, Houston Texans, number 1 is what we were looking for. You gave that for Norwood, not Diggs. Santana Moss were number 89 with Washington. And Norwood were number 11 with the Bills. Steve, you had to know this was gonna come if you won. You got the tickets to the Lumineers. Can you give us a celebratory Moose Call? I was kind of a sad moose, but you already won the tickets, so go ahead and stay on the line. Dennis will get some information that he needs from you to get your tickets. Dennis, we need to clip that Moose Call, the sad one, and if Mikko gets traded, we're playing the sad Moose Call. That's how it's going to go. By the way, I just want to read this earlier because my mind is still kind of wrapped around. Earlier today, I referenced something that I read online about the combinations. If you were to shuffle a 52-card deck, how many different combinations there were. I wasn't even close to how crazy this is. Quantumbase.com. I've been reading it. This apparently is true. According to quantumbase.com, right now, if you made friends with every person on Earth and each person shuffles one deck of cards each second for the age of the universe, right? So that's every second for the most time you can think of. There will be a 1 in a trillion chance of two of those decks matching. That makes so little sense to me, but it's mind-blowing, right? There is essentially what that is saying, okay? And this is what I'm talking about, like, life's up to chance and everything. I forget even what the analogy I brought it up on, but I just want to pass this along for a fun fact for everybody because my mind is blown by it. If you take a 52-card deck right now and shuffle it, like good, healthy shuffle, fair, not a rigged deck. If you just shuffle 52 cards, it is almost a guarantee that the order of that deck of cards that you have in front of you has never been the order of any deck of cards in the history of the world. Does that not blow everyone else's mind? I can't even fathom it. So, fun fact for you. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That had nothing to do with sports. That is just things that make you go, That does not mean Mikko has been traded. Just a sad moose call. And for those of you that don't know, Mikko Rantanen, the Carolina Hurricane and all the trade talks, his nickname is Moose. If you don't have that bit of information, you are very confused right now. How funny is that? Extremely confused. Someone's just like, I don't get the moose calls. Why is he talking about decks of cards? Let's get back to the sports, but first, Dennis Cox has some information for you.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. Something I want to make sure everyone is aware of, okay? We're talking about making sure people are understanding and aware of certain things that are happening. You have the opportunity to win a custom-built motorcycle, a custom Caniacs motorcycle to be more specific, because the Law Tigers, Tobacco Road, Harley-Davidson, Shiny Side Paint, your Carolina Hurricanes, they've all teamed up once again to give one lucky fan a custom Caniacs motorcycle. Simple to enter, folks. Just go to caniacsbike.com. That is it. Go to caniacsbike.com to enter for your chance to win this custom-built, beautiful motorcycle. Simple to enter. Go to caniacsbike.com. It could be all yours. I know the weather's turning nice. Sun's starting to come out. Warm weather's right around the corner. Maybe you're thinking about hopping on the motorcycle for the first time. Or maybe you just think about hopping on the motorcycle you haven't ridden in a few years. This is your chance to get back on the bike, folks. Go to caniacsbike.com. Enter for your chance to win this motorcycle. And if you do win, hit me up. We'll go out for a ride together. I'll ride my own motorcycle. I'm not going to sit on the back of your brand new one. This is the one that you're going to win. But I'll ride my own. We'll go for a ride together. Hit me up. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Bill Belichick is running his first college spring practice. And he had comments yesterday to the media. We have some of that audio. We'll play it for you coming up next.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Svechnikov, tick-tack, tied, in Carolina on the man advantage.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Save made, rebound! Game over! Sebastian Aho gives Carolina a 4-3 win in overtime.
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
Is your plumbing outdated or just not getting the job done? Call Newcomb & Company to see how we can help get your home operating at peak performance. Our experienced plumbers can repair or replace faucets, toilets, piping, garbage disposals, water heaters, drain cleaning, and more. Become a Comfort Contract customer to receive priority service and a 15% discount on service calls and repairs. Turn to the experts today. Call 919-862-3000 or find us at newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company. Your comfort is our business.
At Rocket, we believe everyone deserves their shot at the American dream. So if you're feeling locked out of home ownership, we're here to give you back the keys. We're opening doors, breaking down walls, and doing everything we can to turn renters into owners. And we're not going to stop until we help everyone home. To find out more, visit rocket.com. Rocket. Own the dream.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you.
all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be in the room with real people kind of learner, so he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your boat, boat wins.
What are you going to do? Take a boat out for a spin or go mail something? Boat wins! Are we cleaning the patio or taking the boat out fishing? Boat wins! Are we skipping that eye exam to go sailing? Boat wins!
Rescheduling eye exams can be a nightmare.
All right, fine. Eye exam, then boat.
Yeah!
With Progressive, you can bundle your boat with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings on your boat. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states and situations.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and here we are, the final week of college basketball's regular season. Let's get it all sorted out as the Tar Heels make a final push for an NCAA tournament bid. And new customers on FanDuel can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's right, $150 of their dollars to use on anything you want, conference tournament clashes, the NCAA tournament down the road. So let's go. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. March is mad. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
This hour of the drive brought to you by Lufthansa. Lufthansa is excited to take off from Raleigh Durham International Airport, connecting you to destinations like Germany, Italy, India, and beyond. Say yes to incredible journeys. Book today at Lufthansa.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. No news from the NHL trade deadline involving the Canes. A few minor moves happening around the league, but I expect more fireworks in the next day or so. By the time we take the air tomorrow at 3, the trade deadline will have come and gone. It will be at 3 o'clock tomorrow, so we'll break down all of the action going on. We'll see how it all breaks down. That's what I'll say. But for the immediate moment, like right now, we're gonna look at some football because Bill Belichick. I don't even know if I think some people never thought it would even get here. Bill Belichick has officially coached college football practices.
That's true. That's a fact.
He is the head coach of the Carolina Tar Heels, and they've run spring practice. He's out there. I mean, he's doing it, man. Which credit to Carolina for getting it this far. Here's first of all an observation. The clips from practice are coming out of Chapel Hill. Players, numberless jerseys.
Oh, there you go.
Don't want anyone getting any information.
That's right.
Do you know what my first thought was? This guy has practice with numberless jerseys, and we thought he was going to welcome in Hard Knocks cameras to show the insight into the behind-the-scenes of what's going on in their offseason.
It's a good point.
He won't even let you know which wide receiver is making a catch in the team's own media, social media highlights that are going out. He's like, oh, who could it be? I don't know. We don't have a number. Can't look at your roster. Like, I don't want to overemphasize this, but I also don't want to underemphasize it. It's got to make watching practice tape so confusing, right? When you're sitting there watching the tape with the players in your position group, all right, what wide receiver, who's at this rep? You got players like looking at it like that might be me. I don't know. That's too small to be me. Maybe that's him. Turn it on. I'll know by the way I run. Like, that's what they're doing because they don't want any, like, I don't know, depth chart. Like, they don't want anyone to know who's running with the ones of their own people that are watching spring practice. I don't know. Numbers are on jerseys for a reason. It's to identify players because you wear a helmet and you don't get to see their face. Hilarious. We thought they were going to let HBO in to make a behind-the-scenes documentary. Never was going to happen in retrospect. But Bill Belichick did talk to the media, and he talked about how it's going, and he talked about his expectations, and he talked about kind of state of the program for his Tar Heels. We have some audio for you. We'll play that for you now. This is Bill Belichick on his expectations for spring practice and kind of all of the adjustments taking place.
It's similar to like what a rookie mini camp would be, and time with the rookies. Granted, those kids are a little bit older, but they're coming from all different programs and different situations, and so it's starting to put everything together. Here's how we do things. Here's what our expectations are. This is what you need to do to be successful, and they've embraced that. They've tried to do it. Again, we have a long way to go. We haven't accomplished anything, but we're a lot further along than we were five weeks ago, and the players are ready to practice and ready to learn and embrace a new program.
Do you know what helps with all of that a ton? Belichick walks in with immediate credibility. We talk about this with new coaches all the time. The first bit of success you have is huge because it allows you to look at the players and go, see, I'm going to ask you to do hard things. I'm going to ask you to practice aggressively. I'm going to ask you to be detail-oriented. I'm going to be asking you to do all of this. If you do it, this success is what can come. Bill Belichick doesn't need that first bit of success, right? The moment he says jump, the team says how high because they have years and years and years of watching him be successful and win championships. So I actually think more so than most coaches, his buy-in will be quick because he comes with built-in credibility. It's the same thing that happens a lot of times if a legendary former player becomes a coach. They get immediate buy-in because they can drop like it's just this is going to be a weird story, not patting myself on the back, but there was a media consultant that used to listen to my show and tell me things about how to get better early in my career. And at one point in time he said, you played college football? I said, yeah, at the University of Delaware. He goes, okay, I want you to say that as many times as possible until I tell you it's too much. I was like, really? He's like, yeah. Like, name drop. If you have a story with someone, do it. And I was uncomfortable, right? Because I was like, Delaware's not, the ACC. It's not a power conference. I don't want to come across braggadocious. He was like, you just have to do it. Same thing is true, I would say, with former coaches or former players that are now coaches or Bill Belichick that's coaching in college. Every drill that he has his defensive players do should be like, so when I was coaching NFL Hall of Famer Ty Law, this is a drill that he did every Tuesday. So when I was coaching Lawyer Malloy, he used to do this to intercept Tom Brady in practice. Do you remember when Peyton Manning couldn't win the big one? That was because my defense was doing this in practice to make him look like a fool. You come with such built-in credibility, right? Hey, Bryce Baker, I know you were one of the top 10 quarterback recruits in the country. I worked with Tom Brady. This is what we used to do, and that is worth its weight in gold. So he's sitting there going well, everybody's adjusting. Everybody needs to kind of, figure out how the program goes. It's like, I think the program goes with whatever you say, with how much credibility you have. Have an assistant coach in the back that's like, all right, that's enough Patriot stories. Have somebody else be your guardrails, but say it as often as possible. Belichick on how coaching college players will be different than NFL players and the system he plans to impart.
Fundamentally, it's pretty close. There'll definitely be some changes, but you know what? We'll see what those are once I get a better feel for what our personnel is, what they can do. We want to play to the strengths of our players, and that's what we'll do. So it probably takes a little while to figure that out, but nevertheless, we'll run a pro system on both sides of the ball and in the kicking game. So that's what the foundation of it is, and all the training films that we've shown them on how to do things, how to do certain techniques, how to run certain things are really from NFL players, the guys who are great at it, the guys who did it better than anybody. So I think that's still a great way to teach because our players are seeing some of the best guys that have ever played do what they do. So it's a good teaching basis.
Bill Belichick, he loves a core tenet. He loves a core principle. You ever have a new boss take over anything or a new teacher come in and all of a sudden at the top of the syllabus it says like, in this class we will sing, S, be strong, I, be independent, right? They all have like their core principles.
Oh, yeah. I was that person.
Were you?
Oh, yeah, as a coach, oh, yeah.
We only have a couple minutes here. Do you remember them?
My last one was relentless.
Okay. There's relentless. There's hard, tough, smart. Like all these things that coaches have. Belichick loves it. And right, do your job, Patriot way. This one for UNC, it's pro. Right? They're going to be the 33rd pro football team. Pro systems. He said we're going to have pro systems in the kicking game. I've seen a lot. I used to hold on field goal. I've seen a ton. What does that mean? Oh, we're gonna step with our outside foot, keep our right foot anchored, and punch with our outside hand. That's what you do in Pop Warner. That's what you do in the NFL. Like we're gonna have pro systems.
All right, guys. Kick off, deep left, shed your block to the left. That way we don't have an open lane. And go tackle the guy.
He is like, we're going to have pro systems in the cafeteria. We're going to be an NFL team in the parking lot. It's like, what is this? What does this mean? But he is about his core tenets. And the core tenet of UNC is they are going to be an NFL team in college. And I appreciate the commitment to the bit. I'm not sure if everybody – this is the dumb stuff that sticks in my memory. I think it was the Patriots' last Super Bowl parade, he gets up there to speak. Right, and Gronk had gotten everyone into a frenzy, and Edelman had done his thing, and he tried to get everyone to chant, "Do your job, do your job." And nobody, like a few players did it out of pity. None of the parade did it. He's just so committed to the bit. If they win a national championship and they get the parade down Franklin Street, he'll be like, "Pro style systems, pro style systems."
33rd team.
Yeah.
33rd team.
Everyone in Carolina Blue will be like, what?
You know what? They would chant that with them. They would 100% chant that with them. You kidding me?
They'd
Pro style. What do you want me to say? I'm in.
They'd be going, Bryce, Baker. They would find something, but I'm not sure they're chanting pro style systems. But I respect it. It's Bill Belichick. He's coaching football. Who would have guessed it would be in college?
Pro style kicking.
Yeah.
Pro style kicking.
Block that punt. Block that punt. Overdrive is coming up next here on 99.9 The Fan. No news as of now, so we are going to replay that actually kind of sounded like Belichick. It was a sad moose call. We are going to play a little Mikko Rantanen conversation from earlier today, primer for the next 2 hours of time before the trade deadline, and then Duke UNC. We look ahead to Saturday. It is going to be a chaotic next 7 or 8 days of sports here in the Triangle. So buckle up, get ready. We're going to have fun with it. Hopefully you will as well. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, have a great night, everybody.
Do you ever go to the Carolina Hurricanes games and find yourself thinking, what do the players eat before the game? What are their pregame rituals? What kind of music gets them pumped up ahead of the game? How sacred is the game day nap? What's the postgame mood on the team plane? Check out my new podcast,